As Vice President Kamala Harris sits down for her first TV interview more than a month after replacing President Biden at the top of the Democrats' ticket, though her running mate Tim Walz will be with her, scheduled to tape that CNN interview later this hour.
This interview with the vice president could give Republicans the opening they've been looking for. It could be a chance to expose Harris and their views as a flip-flopper or maybe weak on some policy issues. But for the Harris campaign, this could also be a continued boost for them as they have seen their numbers rise in the polls.
Fox's Mark Meredith in Savannah, where Harris and Walz have a rally later today, wrapping up a Georgia bus tour, while former President Trump will be in Michigan and Wisconsin. Weapons inspectors say Iran now has even more highly enriched uranium.
The International Atomic Energy Agency reports Iran has more than 360 pounds of uranium enriched just short of weapons-grade purity. In theory, just a few pounds more, and they'd have enough to make 4 nuclear bombs. Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful, but weapons inspectors say key issues like access to important locations are still not being resolved.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The new UN watchdog report comes days after Iran's supreme leader opened the door to renewed talks with the U.S. A young girl found dead in a car after a man is shot and killed by police on a bridge connecting Maine and New Hampshire along Interstate 95.
A man suspected of killing a woman overnight at a home in Troy, New Hampshire, drove about 100 miles away to the Piscataqua River Bridge connecting Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and Kittery, Maine. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office says police engaged with the man in an incident that ended with him being fatally shot. And officers then found an 8-year-old girl shot to death in the car.
Fox's Chris Foster. The Maine Attorney General's office is now investigating as well. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
As fall approaches, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, sporting events, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve. So this fall, no matter what you're prepping for, you can prioritize your family's health and make a game plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We will keep an eye out for a couple of pop-up thunderstorms going through the afternoon. It's partly sunny, hot, and humid near 98. Tonight, spot evening storms. Otherwise, partly cloudy and steamy, 77. Friday, here comes a cool front. Scattered showers and thunderstorms anytime on Friday. It's humid and 90. Partly sunny skies and looking like a great holiday weekend coming up. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Attention Missouri Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care with help preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly after every shift. It's all funded by Medicaid and 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. This service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers are paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915. 314-557-7915.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Well, happy Thursday. It's a big Thursday. I would assume maybe in the next couple hours here, Kamala Harris and her support animal, Tim Walz, will be sitting down to do an interview, the first interview of this ticket for this campaign season, which is good because they got it in just under 40 days. You could almost have all of Lent in this amount of time. It's as if they gave up talking to the American people for this Lenten period leading into the election. Are you going to watch that interview tonight? Are you going to make sure that you're sitting right in front of your television screen tonight to watch it live? How are you going to consume it? I'll be curious to hear what your plan is this evening. You know how, like, one of the Democrat, this is one of the Democrat talking points that it's like, I get it, but it's just a weird phrase. Brad, you know how, like, I never hear anybody on the right using the phrase "make a plan" to vote.
Yeah.
It's like, does this need to have like highlighters and color coded? Like, what are we planning? How about it's election day, you go vote?
Go vote. Yeah. My plan is to go to the polling station and do it.
I don't understand why it is made to be, well, I don't know. Maybe if it's low information voters that they're talking about, like, you don't want to accidentally plan to go eat Taco Tuesday because election day's on Tuesday, so you got to work voting around Taco Tuesday. Like, I just don't get it. Make a plan. So for all the Republicans out there, yes, make your plan right now. In Illinois, voting's going to open here pretty soon. We get 40 days leading up to the election that you can just go early vote. You can go to the courthouse and you can early vote. I've done it before. I recommend doing it. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to do. Ben Stiller was at the DNC, and I know that everybody, like, what's the one line that you think of when, I mean, you don't have to say it, but the one line you think of when Ben Stiller's talking? It's when he's sitting at the dinner table with Robert De Niro. They're talking about milk. And that's all I think of. So I don't take him seriously, but that's because we're not supposed to take Ben Stiller seriously. Like, Ben Stiller's character is the guy who is uber serious about things that are completely unserious. He's always trying to get from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie by being the only person in this comedy of a movie that's taking it seriously. And that's kind of the ruse. He's absolutely a hilarious comedian. I enjoy I'm trying to think of a movie that he's done that I don't like. Has Ben Stiller done a really bad movie?
I can't think of one. Maybe the second Zoolander movie.
I don't know if I've ever even seen the whole Zoolander first one. But I have a hard time thinking, like, if the original one was really good and you made a sequel, you kind of get the benefit of the first one leaking over into the people just wanted to hear more from this story in the second one. If you really like the first one, I love Night at the Museum movies. I will rewatch those on a regular basis. I don't know. Ben Stiller's had a really good career, and so he's the serious character, generally speaking. Even kind of in Zoolander, like, his character is taking it really seriously. While everything around him is all comedy. That's his shtick. So here he is being the serious character at the DNC while everything around him is a circus. And when he's delivering this message to the reporters that are there and trying to talk about what it is he supports about Kamala Harris, see if you can really put the pin in what Ben Stiller really likes about Kamala Harris?
Question why you came, what you like about Harris' platform?
Just very excited about moving forward and all the energy and excitement that's around this movement right now. So that's why I'm here, because it's time for change, and it seems like it's happening.
You think she'll be able to sustain the momentum post-convention?
For sure.
You think the race is going to be close?
It's going to be close, but everybody's motivated to work and make it happen. So, and she and Tim Walz are just incredible candidates. All right.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay, man.
All right, that's it. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a primary. Apparently, also is not added in there. Another great film by Ben Stiller, where again he's the super serious guy in Dodgeball. Another great movie where everything around him is just chaos and pandemonium. Everybody who speaks about Kamala Harris is doing this mood. They're setting the mood for everybody to understand that the alternative out there, again, is the great Satan. And again, when you listen to Ben Stiller there and he's like, it's time for change. Change from what? She's the vice president. She's in the administration right now. When it's kind of ironic that she's able to go to Georgia and campaign all across Georgia, and she's running all over the country campaigning, which is what candidates do at this time. Oh, except for the fact that when the vice president is doing this, because you have a lame duck president in the Oval Office, usually the president is in the Oval Office. He's at the beach for days and days and days. One day, my retirement plan, too, shall be the president of the United States, so I can spend my time at the beach as well. Is that how it works, or do you just have to be in the Democrat Party to do that? The interviews tonight, Dana Bash gets the call from the bullpen to come in and interview Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris is going to bring Tim Walz along. I don't know what this is going to look like, other than my anticipation, as I was discussing yesterday, is that it's going to be real touchy-feely, mood-based, which is what everything has been so far. There are a lot of things that have come out of this campaign so far where they've kind of dipped their toe into policy. And when they dip their toe into policy, it's like that gif of that little kid who like runs in the room and then he gets that like, oh no face. And then he just does a beeline and he leaves. That's the way they are when they're talking about policy. They don't have the interests of the average American people at heart. I think that they don't understand where the average American is on the majority of these issues. And when you're talking about groceries, she has done speeches where she has listed off, the prices of things. And you would think that that would be an indication that something drastically needs to change. Which, again, if you ask Zoolander, change is coming if Kamala Harris gets elected, except for the fact that what she wants to do is go all the way into the deep end with her socialistic policies like price controls and free money for people to buy homes, which is just going to elevate the price of homes. And, for giving more people's student loans, people who decided to go to college and get degrees that couldn't pay for the cost of the education that they had to invest in. So they lean on other people who are making money who maybe never even got a college degree because they had the sense to understand, A, this isn't the best path for me, B, I can't afford it, or C, it's not something that's going to be lucrative. The thing I want to do isn't paying for a super expensive college. That doesn't make sense if I'm going to make $40,000 a year as a teacher. There's a lot of people out there who have made sensible decisions and are going to be on the hook for the student loans that Kamala Harris wants to forgive, on top of what Joe Biden continues to do to try to buy votes by forgiving these student loans. The housing thing in California is so obnoxious because it's the same problem that was injected into our education system. When you have a scenario where, what do you do when you're a senior in high school, you fill out a FAFSA form and you determine, okay, here's the income we have. Here's the kind of loans that you would be entitled to from the federal government, low interest loans. And you're like, oh, money. Yeah. College. Like you have no concept whatsoever of what it means to owe tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, to somebody else. Maybe you've owed money to your parents before. Maybe you've gotten to a place where you're paying a car payment or a phone bill, but you have no idea what it means to sign these types of loans at 18 And you're going into university systems who, in a lot of ways, are teaching you what to think while you're there as opposed to how to think while you're there. And they're charging astronomical amounts of money for tuition. That tuition has just gone up and up and up and up. The cost of education has gone up and up and up and up. And why is that? It's because the money is always being signed to be loaned over by the federal government. We're handing out money hand over fist to fulfill the ask of the university system, and the university system never has to compete against the market because the supply is always there of money that eventually comes out of your pocket. Well, you're just loaning that money. They'll pay that. They're not going to pay that money back. That's the plan of the Democrat Party. On a side note, it makes me wonder and scratch my head. Why is it that they need people to be in a college system for so long and so desperately? Why? What is it that they get? What is the taxpayer investment to ensure that the pathway forward for high school graduates is to be sure that they go into the college system? Because if we have so many people coming out of school with untenable student loan debt, then they're not making the money. They haven't gone through the 4-year, 2-year, 6-year, whatever conveyor belt of the college system that is supposed to spit you out on the other side as an employee or even better, an employer. When you're going through the university system, you're supposed to get out on the other end with the ability to support yourself. And yes, that means meeting your financial obligations on the other end. If we have such burdensome student loan debt, then that means to me that there's something in our education system that isn't appropriately addressing the purpose of college and higher education and university, which is to produce people who can make money to afford their lifestyles. What are we doing in college and university instead of doing that? I think we know the answer. So when the government shows up to promise to anybody who wants it to have the money they need to go have this 4-year experience that happens to happen at a college on a college campus, God willing, you get out of it with a degree and a career, but maybe not. When all this money gets injected into it by the collective federal government, what possible interest does higher education have in lowering the cost to make it more affordable for people to come? Because if they lower the cost, it's not going to cause less or more people to come, because if they raise the cost, those people could still get the loans, they could still go to the college and still get the education because they can pay it back, maybe not. When you start handing money out like that to acquire housing, instead of looking at the free market system and how to get prices on houses to get back down to a place where they can be affordable once again for people to live in there so you can have a nice normal existence in the United States of America, 3 beds, 2.5 baths, three kids, whatever it might be. Instead of getting prices down, we just guarantee the money so the prices are going to go up. And then you're on the hook for it anyway. I think the majority of America will see through it, but you have an interview tonight on CNN, which it says, I've heard 9 o'clock. Is that Eastern? Is it 8 o'clock our time?
Ooh, I haven't seen the time.
I'll check it and we'll get to you. We'll get that back to you on that. But we'll have the opportunity to hear from Kamala Harris herself and Tim Walz himself what their plan is for these out of control prices that every American is dealing with right now. And it's on CNN and Dana Bash to ask those questions and to push to get those answers. And we'll see if they do it. We'll see if journalism wins the day here. And if journalism wins the day, that doesn't mean that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz lose it. If journalism is doing what it's supposed to do, it's to pursue truth and it's to get you the answers to the questions that you want asked. And we'll see if that's what CNN chooses to do tonight, or if they choose to support the system as they have in the past. Do you know when it is?
9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central.
8 o'clock our time on CNN. I'm going to be paying attention to that. The YouTube poll for today is, do you know anybody who may switch parties when voting for president? Yes or no? I'm curious if there is anybody out there right now that is switching parties. That could go either way. You could have somebody who has voted Republican, doesn't prefer Trump, can't wait to see a woman be the president. If you listen to Ben Stiller's line, it's time for change. It's really hard to look at either of these candidates and think it's going to be a dramatic change from where we've been before. You're picking one or the other. You're picking the most recent 4 years or the 4 years before that. Easy choice for me. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote and let us know what you think. If you know somebody who may switch parties when voting for president. We're going to take a quick break. Hans von Spakovksy on the Annie Fry Show when we come back.
La, la, la. It doesn't matter. La, la,
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Stewart's American Mortgage, that's where you can go and get a bagel loan. Reach out to Stewie directly at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Rates are down. I read an article yesterday. I think it said they were down since like April of 2023. If that's not spot on, it's very close. We're probably about 18 months in right now with lower rates than they have been before, which means you might be thinking about refinancing if you got your mortgage within the last 2 years. Reach out to Stewie and ask him about how he can save you by getting you a new, lower, locked-in rate on your mortgage. Bring that monthly payment down, and every dollar counts right now, and Stewie can help you get there. If you're looking for a new home and a new mortgage, Stewie's your guy. Reach out to him at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440 and say, tell me about the bagel loan and how it can help me. If you're looking for a new mortgage, he closes fast, and that bagel loan means zero closing costs. You can Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Friends at Zero Res, and they're kicking off an end of the summer sale that you're not going to want to miss, especially if you haven't had a cleanup from a late season graduation party, a barbecue, or anything else, especially if you haven't had your home cleaned the right way in a long time. They had to help me with some pet disasters recently, and they're really, really good at that. But here's the offer for the month of August. 3 rooms starting at $119, and then 20% off your air duct cleaning. Air duct cleaning is so important. It helps alleviate allergies and asthma, lower dust in your home, lower energy bills. They have this H2 Hypervac truck that will pull in your driveway. It looks like it's something from the future, but it does the job. It sucks all that gunk out of your home. If your lungs, your air ducts are dirty in your home, your indoor air quality suffers. Zero Res can take care of that. Again, a great offer for this month. 3 rooms starting at $119 and 20% off your air duct cleaning when you call 314-474-2020. Mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk or online, ZeroResSTL.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Join us for Midwest WINGFEST in Fairview Heights this weekend. Wings, drinks, and music, all to benefit combat wounded soldiers. A huge variety of food and music. It's all in Fairview Heights. Info at MidwestWingFest.com. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
Well, look, there was a little distraction, obviously, on their side when it came to Georgia, but to me, that's in the past. I've been saying that, guys, literally for over a year now, that I was going to support our nominee, that we had to win Georgia. The road to the White House runs through Georgia, and I still believe today we could not afford 4 more years of Kamala Harris.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
Your form of our perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovksy.
Hans, welcome back to the show. Today's a big day because Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to sit down and talk to the American people. I'm wondering what your thoughts are, on the First Amendment and how it's the freedom of the press is a very key core part of that First Amendment. I'm just wondering of your assessment right now of how America is flexing that First Amendment freedom of the press muscle in this campaign season.
Well, I don't think the mostly liberal press is doing a very good job of exercising that muscle, because they are not asking and haven't been asking Kamala Harris the kind of tough questions that ought to be asked of someone who has suddenly become the presidential nominee. And, I actually heard some folks yesterday saying how bizarre it was that she is bringing along her vice president. Mm-hmm. There were people saying, she has to have a man with her when she's doing her first interview. I mean, that, too, is just a bit bizarre. But as you know, she has refused to talk about almost anything and has not given an explanation for all the sudden changes in policy that her campaign, not her, that her campaign has put out.
Hans, I think about all the different things we talk about with you on a regular basis. We've talked about, elections and how the voting has changed. You've written a book about it called Our Broken Elections. I want to talk to you in a bit about what Texas has done to clean up their voter rolls. We've talked about the Justice Department, and you've served as a DOJ lawyer. You understand what lawfare looks like and what justice looks like. All of these things always circle back to whether or not we have an honest media that pursues truth and that First Amendment, because all of these things can, in the darkness and in the shadows, what is it? Democracy dies in darkness. Is that what is that the Washington Post? If the media does not pursue truth for the American people, all the dominoes in all the directions start falling against the American people. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on how bad it is. How does our media, how's it supposed to compare to other countries? And can we get it back to an honest place for the American people?
Well, I'll tell you, about a week ago, we had a law professor, Jonathan Turley, over at the Heritage Foundation for a dinner. Folks I know see him all the time on Fox News. Look, he's just published a book in which he says, and I agree with him, that we are facing the greatest threat to our First Amendment rights that we have faced in our entire history. And think about this. At the very same time that the media has not been asking questions of the Democratic nominee for president, what did we have? We had Mark Zuckerberg admit that his social media company caved in to pressure from who? The Biden Kamala Harris administration to censor the opinions of Americans who had accounts with his company. So, it should scare everyone in this country that the First Amendment, frankly, is being damaged in such a way that we have big companies censoring Americans' opinions.
Yes. I mean, that is another huge story that has come out of the last 5 years is censorship, probably even more than that. But there has been collusion between elected officials in government and our ability with privately owned companies to speak about things that we freely want to speak about. I don't know if you have insight on this. I don't know if this is a weird question to ask Hans von Spakovsky, but I love talking to you, so I'm going to ask you anyway. What does this agenda-driven leftist media get out of protecting the Democrat Party and not advocating for the American people? What do they get out of that?
Well, what you have to understand is when you look at the political makeup of newsrooms, whether it's the New York Times, the Washington Post, what you find are radical, ideological leftists. And they don't believe in free speech. They don't believe that their opponents, and they consider anyone with traditional views, anyone who's conservative, they think you shouldn't have a voice. And so they are all in to help Kamala Harris and Democrats win because they believe in big government. They see nothing wrong with censorship because they assume, well, we're not going to get censored because we've got the right lines. We are the woke culture. We're not going to get censored. But all those people who disagree with us, they should be censored. And not only will we censor them, but if the government can help censor them, that's a good thing. That's why they do that.
Well, everything is downstream from a dishonest press. You can't have truth, and you also can't hold anybody accountable if we don't actually have truth. And I think that that's one of the biggest problems facing the American people and these candidates in this election. I wanted to get to the story out of Texas. Even the New York Times headline here, Texas removed 1 million from voter rolls, but most had moved or died. And it's almost like it's dismissive. There's 1 million people in the Texas voter rolls that even the New York Times is admitting existed there, but they're kind of shoving it aside because they've moved or died. What happens if people who have moved or died are still on voter rolls in states? Is that potentially problematic?
Well, yeah, and they don't mention the fact that that list included 6,500 aliens. Well, every time an alien votes, that's voiding the vote of a citizen. 6,000 voters were removed who are felons, who are in prison, who aren't supposed to be voting. So right there, 12,500 voters who could make the difference in any election. And I actually checked, and in the last just couple of years, they've had at least 5 elections in Texas, state and local elections that were decided by, guess what? A tie vote.
Whoa.
So just one of those 6,500 aliens who were on the rolls could have made a difference in that election.
That's incredible. I mean, I would assume it's going to be impactful across the nation. And of course, the Electoral College makes a big difference. I'm looking at a Newsweek article right now. States where non-citizens are being purged from voter rolls. Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Ohio, Virginia. I mean, some of those are impactful states. And I would assume if it's not in the presidential Electoral College, there are, as you said, statewide or local races where that's going to make a huge impact.
It is. And look, I was just at a hearing in May in front of the House Administration Committee on this very topic, and all the Democratic members of the committee were saying, aliens registering and voting, that's not happening anywhere. And yet now we hear Texas took off 6,500. 3 weeks ago, Governor Youngkin of Virginia announced that they had taken 6,300 aliens off the rolls. That's a lot of people who are not eligible to vote, who are on our voter rolls. And as you say, it could make the difference in a close election. And could it affect the presidential election? Well, hopefully not. But then in 2020, Arizona and Georgia were decided by only about, 10,000 votes?
Yeah. I mean, cleaning the voter rolls has to be one of the main things that state by state that we take care of. And at least some of these states are, and they're paving the way. I wanted to ask you about the RFK Jr. endorsement of Donald Trump and then his suspension of his campaign, but not ending of his campaign, where he said, I'm going to stay on the ballot in the red and blue states where his name is on the ballot, but I'm going to take my name off the states where it might push the outcome into Kamala Harris's territory. I want people who support me to support Donald Trump, and I'm going to remove my name from that ballot. And I'm curious if you can walk us through what's going on. I guess it's Wisconsin and Michigan, where ironically, the Democrats have just had no problem getting Joe Biden's name off those ballots and putting Kamala Harris's name on it. But RFK Jr., who worked really hard to get on those ballots, now can't figure out how to get his name off. What's taking place? Is it politics, or is this just, timeline, law, legal stuff? This is just kind of the way it goes.
There's still time for them to take him off the ballot. And I can tell you it's pure politics, particularly in Michigan. Look, the Secretary of State of Michigan is a woman named Jocelyn Benson. She is got to be one of the most politically partisan elected officials in the entire country. And I only say that very seriously. This is the same woman, by the way, who for the last 3 years has been fighting in a lawsuit to avoid taking 26,000 people who are dead off the voter rolls in Michigan. That's the kind of Secretary of State she is.
So if RFK Jr. can't just say, I'm not running in Michigan anymore and have his name come off the ballot, I'm not running in Wisconsin or Pennsylvania or whatever, he doesn't have the ability to just do that?
He should, and what he's going to have to do, since both states apparently don't want to comply with the law, particularly the Secretary of State of Michigan, is he's going to have to sue to force his name off the ballot.
Man, it's never easy. It's never simple. I heard RFK Jr. saying something to the effect that his internal polling shows a reasonable possibility that at the end of all of the electoral vote counting, we could end up 269. And as most people know, you need 270 to win. And then he starts explaining how, if he's got some votes in some of these other states, the blue or red states where voting for RFK Jr. is not going to change the color of that state ultimately in the Electoral College, that he could still foreseeably end up being the president of the United States. Can you walk us through RFK Jr.'s thinking on that issue?
Boy, isn't that an interesting possibility? Folks probably don't know because this hasn't happened since the very beginning of the country. But if there is a tie in the Electoral College, the president will be decided by the U.S. House of Representatives.
Oh, boy.
The U.S. House. The U.S. House will then make the decision. Each state will get one vote. So if you have a state, for example, where they've got a mix of Democrat and Republican members of Congress, they have to take an internal vote, majority wins, and then that state will cast their vote. The vice president is chosen by the Senate.
Oh my God.
So can you imagine?
This is a movie.
It would be. I mean, it would be quite something if that were to happen. But is he right that it's a possibility? Yeah, I think it is. Think about how evenly divided we are in this country today, and yeah, I think it is a possibility.
Just because, let's get all the crazy out here in one conversation. When you say the House picks the president and the Senate picks the vice president, do they have to be people who were on the ballot?
Yes. Yeah, it does have to be people who were on the ballot. But you could can you imagine? I mean, you could actually have the possibility that a Republican-controlled House picks Donald Trump and a democratically controlled Senate picks the vice president of the Democratic Party.
Can the Senate pick the other presidential candidate to be the vice president? Or does it have to be a VP pick?
No, I think it has to be a VP pick under the Constitution.
So you're saying there's a possibility there's a Trump-Walz presidency.
Yes.
Lord have mercy. Although, what an interesting thing that would be to cover for quite some time.
It would be, and what a plot for a movie, a Hollywood movie. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We're probably getting a little bit closer to that with every day. Everything else seems to be unprecedented, so what next? Hans, thank you for being with us today. There's always something interesting to talk about, and we always appreciate your insight.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Bye-bye. Hans von Spakovksy is a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Interesting wrinkles to our Constitution. They thought about all of that. I was blown away when I found out that they could tie. What do you mean they could tie? There's got to be like a thumb war or something and just get that sucker done. Anyway, you can tie. And you got like a straggly electoral vote up in Maine. You got one hanging out in Nebraska. I don't know why the state legislature didn't fix that one, but the states that don't have to send all of their electoral votes to the same candidate, things can get crazy. But they've been crazy, so we're good at crazy. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America, when we come back, the YouTube live chat poll for today is, do you know anybody who may switch parties when voting for president? Yes or no? You let us know what you think at the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Go vote in the poll. It's right there in the live chat portion of today's live broadcast. Let us know what you think. If you download that Odyssey app and you stream us on the Odyssey app, you find 97.1 FM Talk on AUDACY Odyssey app. There's a little microphone right next to where you click play. You can send us a voice recording and tell us what you think about the poll. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, along with Thomas Helbig, are waiting for you to give them a ring so that you can learn about how they can help you make that transition. You've been thinking about it. Retirement is right around the corner, and you need the very best in the business to help you flip that switch. That's when the Retirement Advisory Group comes in. They can help show you how much income you're going to have in retirement. They're going to be able to help you know how long your money will last so that you go into retirement with eyes wide open and worry left behind. You can get a personalized, structured income plan created for you. And it all starts with a free conversation. No obligation whatsoever. Sit down, listen to them, and then you can choose if you want to hire them. After that, reach out to Bob and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
Many people dream of playing the piano, but few ever do. Hi, this is Kathy from Lacefield Music. And as adults, they're afraid it will take too long, be too hard, or that they'll fail. And this is true with many piano lessons, but not with Lacefield Music's 8-week adult piano course. In this course, you will learn to read music, play your favorite songs, and have fun in just 8 weeks. Lacefield Music's 8-week adult piano class is always $99. But twice a year, Lacefield Music opens the course up to the public for only $29.99. That's only $29.99 for all 8 weeks. Classes are starting in September and class size is limited. So go to lacefieldmusic.com or call 636-778-2070 to sign up. The website again is lacefieldmusic.com or 636-778-2070.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. This could be your final opportunity to secure the carefree villa home of your dreams at the Preserve in Afton. Our homes provide a lifestyle of convenience and relaxation, free from the hassles of lawn care, landscaping, and snow removal, with prices starting in the 400s. We will build to order or select from one of our 6 move-in ready designer market homes and save thousands, including special 3.9% financing if qualified. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Here's our question for you today. Do you know anyone who may switch parties when voting for president? Yes or no are your options for today. It's the YouTube live chat poll, so let us know if you do know anybody who's going to switch parties, or of course, if you don't, then let us know that it's a no. 1244. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tucker Carlson is paying Missouri a visit, and we're inviting you to join us to see him for free on September 12th at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Tickets are on sale now, but you can register for a chance to win online at 971talk.com now until August 30th. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, do you know anyone who may switch parties when voting for president? Yes or no? If you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you can go vote there, and you can let us know if you know somebody. You don't have to name them by name, but I'm curious, friends, coworkers, family, yourself, that might be switching parties this year. Be curious to know why it is that why it is that they're making the switch. It's Wiggins America's time, so let's get to Wiggins America.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins! Well, this made a little news that the Surgeon General came out. The Surgeon General of the United States said that parents can't function because they're so stressed. It's kind of an area that the Surgeon General usually doesn't wade into, but because he did, I pulled up a list of signs that you might have parenting burnout. Now, if you're anything like me, whether you're in the room here, you're listening to this segment, as you hear these, I'm not inclined to apply them to myself. I am very inclined to apply them to my wife. Now, I don't know if that's everybody, but I think that's a way to approach this. Is not just for you, but think about your spouse or your significant other and see if this may be applying to them. Are they being burned out? Number one, chronic physical and mental/emotional fatigue. Those are really two different things. They're lumped into one category here, but you're exhausted all the time. Is this something that you think if you see it, you automatically know you're burned out?
Say that again. What's the sign?
Chronic physical and mental/emotional fatigue.
Yeah. I mean, that happens.
I mean, it's an indicator of burnout.
I don't know that it's easy though to apply it to like, oh, this is because I'm the parenting quadrant of my life.
Exactly. And that's where I think these all apply kind of broadly to burnout, but do they mean that you're burned out of being a parent? I don't know if that always means that. But if you're exhausted all the time, it is a fact that you're not going to be as, especially emotionally present with your kids. As I even say that, though, we've got to be the most emotionally aware generation.
I was thinking because I've got an article we might just finish the conversation here instead of later on in the show, but we're kids of the 80s. We grew up with parents who were raised by the boomer generation. There was not a lot of concern for your feelings growing up.
No.
There was not a lot of concern for my feelings growing up. It was like I understood that maybe people felt them. But your job was to handle it. I feel like the pendulum swung the other way and we like passed a sense of normal and just waved as we continued on by.
Totally.
Of being able to like acknowledge, you know what I'm feeling, a kind of way about something and not suppress it 100% of the time, to show people that you love the affection in whatever way that you speak. What's your love language, whatever. I don't think that it's not like when I was your age, because it was way different than the way I'm raising my kids. I obsessively tell my kids I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I say it to them, I feel like I need to say it 10 more times just so they know how much, because I just want to make sure that they know.
I've really, and I'm not a very touchy-feely person, but I have gone out of my way to make sure that I'm hugging my kids more.
Yeah.
Because I just don't naturally think, I want to go hug my kids. I love my kids. I want to tell them I love them all the time. But they seem to react so much differently when, especially with the boys. If they're just kind of playing on the ground, Legos, they might be pushing each other a little bit or whatever. That's their form of love. If I get down with them and I just start pushing them, I just start messing with them a little bit.
Well, I think though that
they love it.
You're making a conscious effort to do it. And I don't know how you were raised, but I do know your parents, and they're wonderful, loving people, just like my parents are wonderful, loving people. But that's just not how people parented.
They did not talk about feelings and emotions much.
But it was always known and understood.
It was very much known and understood. I remember seeing books on my mom's, like she had just some random books on top of the microwave that I think she always either meant to be reading or maybe she would read every now and then, but they were there for years and they were kind of self-help Christian books. So I know that she was reading that stuff they were about parenting too. So because I remember being like, oh, mom's reading that. I should probably read that to see what mom's thinking about me. But so I know that was there. But the only time I ever really heard the language about, oh, know your feelings was at school. It had started to come into public schools in the late 80s and early 90s.
Oh my gosh, I never had that in school.
Oh man, well, it was the words self-esteem.
Yeah,
and Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Self-esteem was a thing, but like if you had it should be internal. Everybody didn't need to know that your self-esteem was on point.
Good. That would be the way to approach self-esteem, not that you need to be expressing these things all the time.
But the world we live in right now is that the best thing about you are the worst things about you. And you should boldly put them out on display for everyone. And I don't agree with that either. That doesn't mean that, if there's a part of me that, isn't perfect, isn't exactly the way that I want it to be, if I'm self-conscious about one thing or the other, that if I become obsessive of that thing, I'm not saying that that's healthy and like I should try to always adhere to somebody else's standard. And I do look at my daughters being raised in a time where like the 90s and the super skinny expectations, unrealistic completely. But now like fat is in. And that's not healthy. I don't want my kids to look at that and go, well, I can eat whatever I want. It's cool to be fat, or it's no problem to be fat. What I want you to do is I want you to be your healthiest self. And if that doesn't look like somebody on television or in a magazine or, in some ad, that's okay. If you don't look like some other standard and you're healthy, that's okay. But being unhealthy is not okay.
It's such a good example when talking about mental health, too, because you can't pin down mental health, but you can really look at the way the pendulum has swung, and that Kate Moss era model was unhealthy. You can't aspire to that. Like, even Kate Moss herself was unhealthy when she was Kate Moss walking down the runway. But then you're right, it swings too far the other direction. It doesn't stop where it should. Let's stop it right in the middle. Nope, just keeps going. I want to jump ahead to one here, just since we're kind of on the topic anyway. Maybe we can hit the others different time. But one of them, and this is from Portland Pediatric, about parenting. Signs you're burned out as a parent. You're the star player in the victim triangle.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to see the experts even acknowledging this, because so many of them don't. That it's good to see maybe that pendulum has swung too far, and even the professionals are realizing if you constantly play the victim within your relationships, including with your kids, that's unhealthy.
What does that look like?
It says that if you're the victim, people who played the victim typically participate in...
Parents?
Yeah, it says let's see here. They redirect communication with their kids to be more about them instead of about the kid. Mm-hmm. So if the kid even is healthily expressing their needs, you kind of turn that into something, well, what about me? And so if you are playing the victim in the relationship, that seems like less about burnout and more
that just seems like bad parenting.
I think some of these are. Escalating addictive behaviors. If you're using substances to get through your day more and more and more, it's probably not just that you're burned out as a parent. You're having some issues. If you're drinking more, you're smoking more, even vaping, you're turning to pornography, you get high more, eat more, whatever it is. These kind of behaviors indicate that you're not in a healthy place. So some of these, like I said, they're rather broad. But one of them that I did think was good, that I kind of have to check with myself every now and then, as far as being present with my kids and not constantly snapping at them. If I'm in a bad mood, being impatient with them, God love them, they're almost always in a good mood. Like the kids, they bring their joy or whatever, and they wear their emotions on their sleeve. So even if they haven't had a bad day, they're ready to talk about it. I got to be ready to have those conversations instead of shutting them down. Because, at the end of the day, sometimes you're just tired. We talk all day. You get home, you don't want to have tons and tons of conversations. And I don't know about your kids, but my kids want to talk. They just want to share what's going on. And usually it's mundane stuff. It's good stuff. But I got to watch being able to be like, okay, I'll listen. I don't know if you have a tough time with that. Just sitting and listening to your kids.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of sitting. When school's in, there's not a lot of sitting. There's a lot of moving parts. You got to listen in the car. I think that people will often look at their phones instead of listening to the people around them. It doesn't just happen to kids, but that's one way that you're ignoring your kids without realizing you're ignoring your kids. And you might need it, but if your kids need you more than you need that, then you just got to do it.
Yeah. The whole world, just a reminder, the whole world is pulling on you, asking for your attention. A lot of those things are good things, but your kids are important.
We're going to take a quick break here. The YouTube poll, if you want to go vote on it before we come back, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. Do you know anyone who may switch parties when voting for president? Yes or no? Anybody going to the red side or the blue side that hadn't been there before? We'd like to know what your response is to that on the Annie Fry YouTube poll. And you can subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're there. You can also see us and leave us a response to this on the Odyssey app. Just hit that little microphone button next to the play button when you pull up 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app. Love to hear from you. Tyrus, coming up next. Don't go away.
'Cause you light up the park.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Lowe's knows Labor Day calls for big savings. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $750 when you buy 2 or more select major appliances priced $396 or more. And My Lowe's Rewards members get 3 bags of premium 2 cubic foot color mulch for just $10. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 9/4 while supplies last. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Don't miss the historic Bronze Boots Soccer Clash, Sunday, September 8th at City Park. Catch SLU and SIUE men's and women's teams as they face off in this NCAA Division I soccer doubleheader. Get your tickets now at SeatGeek.com.
Hey, it's Annie, and when others can't, Cassins can. Check this month's savings at CassinsCan.com. That's right, 0% available on most new Jeeps at Cassins & Sons Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram through the end of the month. Call 618-800-2712, 618-800-2712, and ask them about 0% available on most new Jeeps. Cassins & Sons is located a mile north on 159 just off 270 in Glen Carbon. 0% available on most new Jeeps. Get them right now at CassinsCan.com. That's CassinsCan.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
There are
top focus remains the same. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The economy getting top billing from former President Trump, as it does with many voters, as he gets set to rally in Michigan an hour from now.
This is the Trump-Vance strategy, as they have been barnstorming all across those Rust Belt states this week. They're trying to connect with the working class, middle class voters. They're trying to woo in those independents, trying to talk their language, talk about their wallets, their bills, a day-to-day struggle.
Fox's Aisha Hosni in Potterville, Michigan. Vice President Kamala Harris rallies later in Georgia after taping her first TV interview as the nominee, joined by her running mate for that CNN sit-down, which is being criticized by Republicans.
She's unable to stand on her own 2 feet to defend and talk about her own record and her record number of flip-flops.
Wyoming Senator John Barrasso calls Harris unfit to serve as president. Before a Boar's Head recall, inspectors raised red flags repeatedly about the condition of a plant now linked to a deadly listeria outbreak.
Mold, mildew, and insects at a Boar's Head plant in Virginia were among the dozens of violations found in a probe into a nationwide recall of deli meats, potentially linked to a deadly listeria outbreak. Agriculture Department records obtained by CBS News show that in July, inspectors found insects and black and green mold within the plant in the weeks before the company issued a recall for liverwurst.
Fox's Lillian Wu, that recall grew to more than 7 million pounds of Boar's Head products. Operations at the Virginia plant are now suspended. The company says it's working to disinfect it and retrain employees. Fisher-Price recalling a baby toy that could pose a choking hazard. More than 360,000 baby dumbbells sold as part of a larger baby biceps gift set at retailers nationwide. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has had 7 reports of gray caps on the ends of the dumbbells coming off. No injuries reported. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
As fall approaches, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, sporting events, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve. So this fall, no matter what you're prepping for, you can prioritize your family's health and make a game plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We will keep an eye out for a couple of pop-up thunderstorms going through the afternoon. It's partly sunny, hot, and humid near 98. Tonight, spot evening storms. Otherwise, partly cloudy and steamy, 77. Friday, here comes a cool front. Scattered showers and thunderstorms anytime on Friday. It's humid and 90. Partly sunny skies and looking like a great holiday weekend coming up. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
What's wrong with Rick? He's kind of spacey.
That's Rick's identical twin, Scott. He's not used to answering to Rick.
What's going on?
Rick asked me to keep it secret, but he asked his twin to cover his shift so he could go to Diamonds Direct to shop.
But this is a jewelry store.
Exactly. But the prices and selection are so much better at Diamonds Direct. Rick doesn't want the boss to get suspicious, so Scott's here in case the boss sees Rick at Diamonds Direct.
But that would mean that the boss is at Diamonds Direct too.
Yeah, we have a lot of secrets.
You never know who you'll run into at Diamonds Direct. With unbeatable direct importer prices, the highest quality diamonds, the most sought-after designer rings, the best customer service, the strongest guarantees in the industry, it's just a no-brainer.
You think if Scott had a mustache, he'd look like me?
Go where everyone goes. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com.
The Social Security Trust Fund could run out of money in less than 10 years. Discover why this could change when you file for your benefits on Your Retirement Professors, Sunday evening at 6 on KFTK, 97.1 FM Talk.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health From Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show is going live to Eureka the morning of September 11th in support of the Focus Marines Foundation. Go to 971talk.com/events to find out more. We'll see you live at Chicken Ellie's September 11th with the Mark Cox Morning Show.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. It's the big day we've been talking about leading up to whenever Kamala Harris would sit down and have a discussion with a reporter where she could answer questions and provide some more context as to what Kamala Harris would do should she become the president of the United States. We'll see how Dana Bash directs this interview. Listen to Miranda Devine.
I don't know how someone who wants to be commander-in-chief is going to handle really difficult decisions that a president has to make when she's agonized, we hear, for days over just how to do this interview and who to give it to.
I think that the Tim Walz presence, I'm trying to think of a scenario where Tim Walz is sitting next to her at this interview, and at the end I go, I think that was a smart move. I think that was a good call for Kamala to have him be there. The only way that I can think of it being framed is that he either is going to sit there and be quiet and let her speak, and then it's like, why are you there? Or he's going to speak for her. Why is it that she can't sit down and do it herself? And, some people might say she can. They just prefer to do this with Tim Walz. This is what happens. People suspect these things when you don't go to talk to the media. When it's like, this is the interview. When people say, are you going to watch the interview Kamala Harris did? Everybody knows which one you're talking about because there's just one.
Yeah, it feels a lot like Joe Biden sitting down in almost every interview with Jill Biden. There's not really a reason for her to be there other than to sort of frame him up, keep him on.
Like the Stephanopoulos one. He did other ones where he sat down and they were a mess. And, is it worse for a female to sit there and help a man through an interview than it's more socially acceptable for a man to sit there and help a female?
I don't know. It's such a weird world environment, because as much as we just got done talking about, look, Joe Biden is just not capable. Over and over and over, the media is trying to tell you not to believe your lying eyes. There's a supercut out there right before the debate of people and even after the debate, people talking about on the left in media and in politics, sharp as a tack. He's so sharp, you wouldn't believe it. Joe Biden's fine.
Kamala Harris was saying that.
Yes.
The woman who wants you to trust her with the keys to the kingdom was just telling you that Joe Biden was fine. And I mean, we're 39 days after her becoming the nominee, and we're finally going to get a sit-down interview with her. And like we said before, we all said collectively here, after the CNN debate with Donald Trump and Joe Biden, you had to give credit where credit was due. Jake Tapper, Dana Bash did a good job on that, and it shocked everybody. Basically, what ended up being the news story out of that debate was the performance of the two candidates. CNN moderators didn't get in the way. Donald Trump, amazingly, didn't get in the way, and it took Joe Biden out of the race.
What's amazing is Joe Biden was that far gone, and he was still doing more interviews than Kamala Harris is now.
Yeah, great point. Tyrus, let's talk to Tyrus about this.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship.
Enough said.
He's a regular on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, and he is a host of Maintaining with Tyrus on Outkick. Check out his latest book, Enough Said. Tyrus, welcome back. Good to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
When you find out that Kamala Harris is going to sit down for an interview and you're like, okay, finally. And then you find out Tim Walz is going to be there. Does that weird you out like it weirds a lot of folks out?
No, and it's not sitting down with the interview. It'll be rehearsed, scripted. They'll do fake. We just saw that when what was it? Tacos with pepper. She's a social media candidate. She's a DEI candidate, and she's a woke candidate. So their playground is social media, and she's had the media in her back pocket her entire during this entire administration. So that's not going to change. They're not going to ask her real questions. The fact that she's not answering shows that she doesn't need it. They don't feel the need it. She's not concerned with basically half the country at all. She's got her. She thinks she has more people that won't vote for Trump. And so this is what they're going to do. It'll be a softball interview until she does interviews with Fox or Newsmax or other agencies, or, she didn't like 60 Minutes because the format, she's following. The biggest concern is obviously you're running for the biggest job in the world and you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
And you can't meet the press every day or in every city or every stump town you go to. I mean, back in the day, they used to stand in the back of trains and do interviews, and the press would travel with them and do interviews, and because they're trying to sell themselves to the American people. And she's already bought and paid for, so there's no reason in her mind to do anything. So I don't even think I'm going to watch it, to be honest with you.
Really?
It's going to be the same. It's going to be much of the same. There's nothing that's going to change my vote based off what I've seen for the last 3.5 years, and the fact that most of the policies that hurt us the most, she was the deciding vote on, or the last person in the room. You can't claim to be the last person in the room in Afghanistan, and then when it turns out being a hot mess, pretending like you weren't there at all. So that's the type of interview that it's going to be. They're just going to talk about how evil Trump is and how excited they are, and with their new catchphrase "joy," which I pointed out on Guptill. If you Google where that came from, it's pretty ironic.
Tyrus, I think about everything that they've allowed to get through to the American people. As you said, it's very highly produced. This interview likely will be more of the same. I will watch it, but reluctantly so. I think that the celebrity endorsement really got watered down in COVID when everybody became, like a celebrity, and I'm in my normal kitchen making a sandwich, and like everybody wanted to share everything with everybody all the time. People got a little oversaturated with that. And I don't feel like the celebrity endorsement has really resurged the way it has in the past. And there are a lot of high-profile people on the left. We certainly saw it at the DNC. Billionaire people coming out and saying Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris. And they keep saying that they want to see change happen. Is that just something? Is that just a line that they're reading that they think the American people are going to buy into, or do they think it's going to get changed even further to the left?
No, I think they're just relying on what worked for Barack Obama. They're using the words that were similar, because Biden's whole thing was because he was a part of the Obama administration, he was the VP, he got the Obama rub during the pandemic. So they're trying to capitalize on that and continue to do that. So we're going to see more things from the campaigns that work, because there's nothing original coming out of the Kamala Harris Walz ticket. It's all recycled, whether they take stuff from Trump, Obama. The only one that won't take stuff from is Biden, even though, according to her, she was his right-hand man. And we know, due to his mental issues and his aging, that she was making a lot of those decisions. So if this administration is more reflective of her than it is of Biden. If you look at their two track records, Biden was, I would say, was definitely a moderate. And she has been so far left, so she's going to go even more than Bernie Sanders once she gets in. But again, this is how it works. She's going to tell the people anything they want to hear is basically Trump's evil. I'm not, so vote for me.
Yeah.
And if that's that's your campaign and that's your whole point, then I guess there's no reason to talk about it. So again, I'll have to watch it for work, but I'm not expecting anything other than what we have seen. And again, CNN doesn't want to bite the hand that feeds them, so they won't ask her anything tough.
Tyrus, President Biden has been filmed days upon days on vacation at the beach. There are reports that, he may not be doing the greatest either. What do you make of the president's situation right now? And do you believe, I've heard people in his, in his administration say, there are no vacation days for the president. The presidency goes with him wherever he goes. But it's pretty hard to believe when you see him on the beach day after day, taking in some waves and some sun.
I don't think he's been president for at least 2 years, to be honest with you. I don't think we saw the debate. That was him at his best. And we know how that went. If he's not reading from a teleprompter and on all kinds of, I don't know, we'll call them 5-hour energy drinks, he's not making decisions. He's not. And that's why we're seeing even Ukraine with the Russians want to use ballistic missiles now, which will pretty much is going to drag us into a war. We're seeing Iran, Hezbollah, and all the other Hamas still continuing with reckless abandon and little of the fear from the United States. So, he hasn't been president for a while, and it's obvious. And sending him on vacations and stuff, he's basically just going to ride it out. I guess he'll finish. He started this presidency in the basement, and he'll finish it in the basement.
We're speaking with Tyrus. He's a regular on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor as well. Encourage you to check out his book, Nuff Said, which is available right now. It's a great read. You should definitely pick it up and learn more about Tyrus. We've been talking on the air a little bit recently. There's some stories out of the Surgeon General talking about how parenting is becoming extra stressful on people and burdensome. And I know you're a parent, and I know that you are very active in your kiddos' lives. And I'm wondering, when you hear about the stress that goes on an individual when they're a parent, we were all kind of raised in this time where you didn't really talk about feelings and emotions. You knew they existed, but you didn't need to publicly have a conversation about it. And then we've moved all the way over to where we are right now, where it's like all you talk about. You can run an entire presidential campaign based on feelings. We're watching that happen right now. From a parenting standpoint, the stress that goes on trying to be at all the places, to do the right things, to make the tough decisions, to make the bills. Do you think the parents are more stressed out in 2024 America now than they have been in the past?
No, I think they're more distracted. I think parents have a lot of crutches. And to be completely frank, a lot of selfish parents out there who put themselves before their kids. Again, I just remember growing up, we had a bedtime for a reason, because before that, my mom had absolutely nothing going on but making sure her kids were where they needed to be and being taken care of. Sacrifices, when you spend more time on social media than you do doing your kids' homework and stuff, that's an issue. Parents, you need to, if you're building, again, it's not a perfect science, and I'm speaking from a guy who's made a ton of mistakes. But I do believe in not making the same mistake twice and learning from them. But the biggest thing I notice is that you might not have time to hang out with the buddies on the weekend. You might not have time to go on mommy, daddy things or whatever. You might have to eat crow and work with your ex-wife or your ex-husband and not make it about still being mad the relationship didn't work out. There's a lot of things as parents we need to do better. Not waiting until there's a problem at school to know what's going on at school.
Yeah.
So again, I think there's just a lot of distractions, and we're living in a time now where being a victim is cool. Where being a victim is like fashionable. So, it's not their fault. It's the system, it's the internet is ruining my kid. Well, how is he getting on? So you buy, instead of pacifiers, you buy tablets now, and then you don't know your kid eventually because he's being raised by what he's seeing on those tablets. So, no, I just think that there's more excuses out there for parents, and there's more distractions, and you have to make sacrifices, and just like our parents did and their parents did, and we have to get back to core values with our children. And I think those who are doing it will reap the benefits, and those that aren't are going to have to deal with a lot of issues that you should have taken on in the beginning. And medicating them and putting them on an iPad is not the answer.
You mentioned acknowledging that you haven't been a perfect parent this entire time. And I think that when people hear you talking about tablets and electronics, I completely hear that as a parent, 4 kids myself. And I think to myself, maybe, my 3-year-old has gotten access to technology sooner than I allowed my now 14-year-old. As time moves on, you kind of loosen a little bit of things around the edges. But do you feel like if you're a parent who's like, they all have phones, they have their tablets, I can't take those away from them. Do you feel like you can go cold turkey and reset the entire table if you know it?
I all up this summer, didn't think anything about it. It's summertime. We got a big yard, go play. And they were upset. Well, they were used to it because it's consistent. The last thing you have time to do is play on your tablet. So they're in activities, they got homework, they have chores, they're family time, family movie night, things like that. We sit at the dinner table together. So there's not a lot of time for, sitting on your phone while you eat dinner. That's outrageous. That's when you get to know, how was your day? What's going on with your stuff? And I know, a lot of times your kids, as they get older, their answers get shorter. Good. Okay. You got to follow. I know it's hard, but follow-up questions do matter. I know we don't see them in the media anymore, but they matter at home. But taking them away, and it's funny because then you don't have time to be on yours.
Yeah.
You have to go outside and watching them. And, sitting on your phone or binge watching a Netflix series instead of being outside with your kids or spending time with your kids or watching your kids, sometimes it's just being present in the room. Your kids shouldn't – if your kids have to hide being on social media – you should be very concerned.
Yeah.
So, again, like I said, we have more distractions and more excuses than our parents did. So, I guess that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But,
I think it's
amazing, though, once you get away from when you get them off all that stuff and all they look forward to is being outside and stuff, you have happier, more exciting kids. They're healthier, because usually what goes with sitting on the tablet is eating a bunch of crap. So, they're outside, they're playing, they're burning off that energy. They go to bed earlier. They get sense of pride from doing their chores and stuff. And the same rule still applies, man. Half-ass work. You're going to be there all day. Do it right the first time. So it's just going back, and you can't be their buddy. You got to be a parent. They're going to make friends.
Yeah.
So again, it's not an easy job. There's a reason why people sacrifice so much. There's a reason why mom aged a lot faster, because you are giving up a lot to raise these little versions of yourself.
It's important to remember that parent outranks buddy, like light years outranks buddy in the important factor. And when people try to be the friend, they give up the upper hand, the biological upper hand that exists, and you can't do it.
No, it just doesn't work out. So again, but here's the thing: when you're closer with your kids because you do more activities and stuff together, and you get a stronger bond. You get a stronger sense of what's going on. You don't have to what's going on. I don't understand. I don't get. It's just it. But even when you do it all right, you're still going to do it wrong.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm like, again, I'm not sitting on no mountain pointing to nobody. I'm telling this is what I see works. This is what I see when I meet a lot of people. I interview a lot of people. I see a lot of things, travel the world. And then when it comes to kids, the parents that aren't, when you see at the airport a whole family together and everybody's on their phone with headphones on, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, I agree. Tyrus, we love talking to you about all the things. Thanks for being with us today. We look forward to catching up with you again next week.
All right. You guys have a good week.
Yep, you too. Have a good Labor Day weekend. Tyrus, regular on Gutfeld, Fox News contributor, and his book, Enough Said. Go check it out. We're going to take a quick break. Let's talk about this poll when we come back here internally in our room. Do you know anyone who may switch parties when voting for president? Yes or no? Got some responses from you folks, and I'll read a couple here. Scott said switching to Republican most for the very first time. That's a yes. Joe said, I know people who aren't voting Democrat this time. Not sure if they were registered. And Kevin said, I personally know 3 people who have always voted Democrat and have told me that they are going to vote Republican. What about you? Let us know. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
MidwestWingFest.com. Your tickets are waiting for you. Have you signed up to get them yet? Midwest Wingfest is an incredible time. It's this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday, at the St. Clair Square by Dillard's in Fairview Heights. It's in the parking lot, and it's an amazing event. They have all kinds of delicious food for you to enjoy with your family. Bring the whole family out. Delicious wings, barbecue, drinks, great live music. And there's going to be a massive kid area that's going to have all the different things that they can play in, that they can enjoy. Great family opportunity for you to spend some time in Fairview Heights this weekend, August 30th and 31st. And a reminder that all of the proceeds of this event go to benefit combat wounded soldiers and families of local fallen heroes. So you're going to go spend $5, kids, people 12 and older, or upgrade to your VIP ticket, which I incredibly encourage you to do. Your VIP tickets will include unlimited chicken wings from Dandy Inn, beer from Chick Fritz Distributors, and private restrooms. All the details online right now at MidwestWingFest.com.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin, proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
Attention, Missouri residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive free in-home care from a loved one, funded by Medicaid with no cost to you. Freedom Care, Missouri's #1 home care provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift. Freedom Care has over 5,000 5-star Google reviews and is #1 in Missouri for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's 100% free to you, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-3027. That's 314-557-3027. 314-557-3027.
Join the movement to end breast cancer on October 19th by supporting the American Cancer Society Making Strides Against Breast Cancer St. Louis Walk. You are helping save lives through groundbreaking research discovery. You are providing patients, family, and caregivers with access to a 24/7 helpline for answers and support. When you donate to the American Cancer Society, you are providing help to those when and where it's needed most. Join the movement or donate today at makingstrideswalk.org/St. Louis Mo.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
I would have put out my Trump yard sign and I would have called it good. When you do this to people and you say, we're going to overreach, then it makes people want to, paint MAGA on their roof.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I'm through with standing in line to clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth and I'm never going to win this.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Tell me what you want. I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs and a bathroom I can play baseball in, and a king-size tub big enough for 10 plus me.
All of you are leaders. By the very fact that you all are here in this room, doing what you do at this incredible school, doing it as one big team, understanding all of the different parts that fit together to create a team.
You know what she sounds like? This is fresh in my mind. Do you know who Kamala Harris sounds like? Is this a band that she's talking to? Like a high school marching band?
Yes.
She sounds like Miss Lippy.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Harris.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where she's talking about the puppy. And the puppy that lost its way.
Yeah.
His puppy paws.
You gotta get your black out there and find a job.
Billy Madison's real mad at the kid for giving up so easily and trying to find the puppy.
Yeah.
Doesn't that, I mean, that cadence is one of, I mean, that's a first grade class. I think Miss Lippy teaches first grade. Isn't Miss Lippy the first class he goes to? I'm pretty sure it is. It's the one where he eats glue.
Yeah. I can't remember if it's kindergarten or first grade, Mrs. Lippy.
It starts in first grade.
It does?
His,
okay.
His first class is first grade. I
Okay.
just watched Billy Madison.
Well, then, yeah.
With my son.
Because she's the first one.
I think I told the story in the air, right? We watched Gladiator.
Yeah.
With my son. R-rated movie. Gladiator is 100% rated R because of the gore. I mean, they're gladiators. They're fighting in the Colosseum, and they show it in a way that looks real. Gladiator 2 is coming out, and it's coming out in November, and Denzel Washington is in it. Have you heard stuff about this movie?
I know that it's there. I don't know anything about it.
I've heard people suggest that maybe this is Denzel Washington's next Oscar.
Oh.
And then I also saw a headline that said that they weren't sure it was going to live up to the Ridley Scott.
Wow.
I have no patience and time for wanting Gladiator 2 to fail. Like,
why would you want it to fail?
I would just. I'm not a critic. I'm not smart enough to be a critic. I don't have enough time to be a critic about it. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I just want something to distract me for 2 hours.
Totally. Although going into Gladiator 2, my expectations are not super high. So it would distract me because I would not.
I think expectations could be pretty high, though. Do you like the original?
I don't dislike it. It's not my favorite genre of movie, but it was a good movie.
It would be considered. This is the only way that I really enjoy the word or appreciate the word epic.
Yes, that's an epic.
Yes.
Very much. A time period piece involving world events
Your
is an
soft
epic.
serve ice cream cone is not epic. It's just not.
It's just big.
It's just ice cream.
Look, there's 4 scoops though. Epic.
But it's an epic, and it's a pretty great one. I'd be looking forward to it.
Ben-Hur is an epic.
Sure.
Yeah, these are epic. Like there used to be more epic movies than there are now.
We watched Billy Madison afterwards just to kind of curtail the brute force of Gladiator. When I was going through Gladiator, though, I was the whole movie of Gladiator is about a coup. It's so hard for me to not watch these movies and be like, that's just like the Democrats. My kids are like, Mom, stop.
Plus, 2 things. Then after you watch Gladiator, then you're like, let's get a palate cleanser. And you get to the dodgeball scene. Brutal.
Life lesson.
Mm-hmm.
That one kid smacks Adam Sandler in the face, Billy Madison in the face with that ball, and then he gets what's coming.
Yeah. This is just like Gladiator.
If you don't want to get smoked, then don't pick on the big kid and tell him O'Doyle rules.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Gladiator, though.
Well, you had to also.
There's an old man who's in charge of the kingdom, and then Joaquin Phoenix, whose name escapes me. Commodus, I think, is his dad.
I do not remember.
Joaquin Phoenix comes in and finds out you're not gonna inherit this kingdom. I'm gonna pick Russell Crowe, and so he kills his dad, suffocates him, and then he tells everyone that he's the new emperor. So he just takes over. It was a coup.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need the warrior guy who is completely like they sent people to kill Russell Crowe, and then Russell Crowe does his Russell Crowe stuff and he escapes. He goes back and they've burned his home. They've destroyed everything that they can get their hands on to Russell Crowe, and he gets captured and he gets taken back to Rome where he's like, okay, fine, I'll fight. And he fights to the death because they can't stop, because the guy who steals the kingdom can't stop, realizes that while he's the king and he's the person who has the emperor, whatever, he's the one who has all the power. For some reason, everybody all of a sudden loves the gladiator, and it's super annoying to him. Like, it really bothers him. He really doesn't like it. And then, what's Russell Crowe's name? Maximus.
Maximus.
I don't know if there's more. He doesn't, I don't know.
Oh.
So Maximus entertains the crowd, and that's what his like Sherpa guy tells him, like, you got to win the crowd. And then at the end, right when it comes to the very end, they go and Joaquin Phoenix stabs him in the back before he fights him, so they're not even fighting fair in the end. And he still wins! But then he dies.
I like the ending. Well, not that part.
No, but before he dies, he says, give Rome back to its people. And I'm like, yes! Something yes.
Wait a minute. Now, in Gladiator 2, Russell Crowe, is he dead? Is he back in the movie?
No, Russell Crowe is toast in Gladiator 1.
So he's
it's about not maybe his son, but maybe his son, the young boy, who also comes to love Maximus, but is Joaquin Phoenix's sister's boy, who would be heir to the throne.
Ah, okay. So I thought I saw Russell Crowe doing interviews about it, but maybe he was just doing interviews.
No, it was Denzel Washington. Same hair. Get him confused.
Okay, yeah. So Denzel Washington's playing Maximus.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. You had to be really disappointed, though, after getting the politics out, because I can see the parallels.
There's a lot of them, especially once you start wanting to see them, then everything is...
Then you can find them.
Yeah.
Then you turn on Billy Madison, and there's Kamala Harris teaching first grade. Gosh, that's sad.
Doing that weird dance thing when they're supposed to be out. And she's like, Billy, dodgeball time is important for Miss Lippy, too.
Have you ever noticed?
She's wearing a noodle necklace around her neck.
Yeah. It's a special time for Miss Lippy, too. Have you ever noticed that all the adults in Adam Sandler movies are typically very, very weird?
Oh, yes.
And all the kids are usually pretty normal?
Yeah. Well, this is something that has also humored me specifically this week. Bradley Whitford.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the sniveling villain?
Here we go.
In Billy Madison, which is funny because he's like the corporate a-hole guy or whatever.
He's just polishing that thing's butt cheeks.
And what?
There's a scene where he's listening. They're preparing for their debate, their final epic battle at the end.
I watched the movie. I rented the movie. I did skip through a few parts. Like
so there's
like
a montage.
The Chris Farley studying part.
There's a montage where they're preparing for their battle.
Mm-hmm.
And Bradley Whitford is listening to something, I think, in French, and he's just polishing the butt cheeks of a statue.
No, I don't remember that. I might have skipped over that. But Bradley Whitford has recently been out, I think he's trashing Trump. And it made me chuckle out loud because the headline was West Wing star. And I'm like, dude, that sucks. That was in the 90s. Like, it has been a minute, Mr. 1990s television star. Big show, watched the show maybe 15 years later and loved it and would go back and watch it again and enjoy it. And I loved his character in that. But I'm like, this man is politically relevant because 30 years ago he was on a TV show about normal politicians.
Yeah. He's politically, he might be left of Keith Olbermann.
Yes, he's nuts.
That guy is way out there.
I think he feels qualified because he was on a TV show, though.
Yeah,
like he does put himself out there in a way that is, like people are like, is it Jed Bartlett? Is it Jed Bartlett?
Oh, the name of the character?
The president.
You're asking the wrong
Pretty
guy.
sure it's Jed. It's definitely Bartlett, but that's Martin Sheen. Is he the old one?
Yeah.
Is he the patriarch?
Yeah.
I loved watching him as a president, and you could tell that he was a moderate leftist. And then every once in a while, they would really try to position something so that it would be really palatable for all the moderates. And it's like, this is a really leftist policy. You're just saying it in nicer ways.
Sounds about right. That's why I didn't watch that show.
But I mean, if you went back and it's a great show. It's a great show. And I mean, I'm pretty good on my politics, so I could stomach it. The show, everything about it, I liked.
You're like right of center, right?
Just, depends.
So we would have So we would have kind of a similar reaction to that.
I don't think I'm similar to you.
No, okay, never mind. Not going to watch the show then.
I'm just very amused. We played the Ben Stiller. Did you hear the Ben Stiller clip from the beginning of the show? He says nothing.
Yeah, he didn't say anything.
He delivers nothing, but he's like, it's time for a change. And I'm like, that was the script from the last time.
I know.
You're reading the wrong lines.
It's so hard to hear it and not just go, come on. Like if you were listening at that time and you yelled at the radio, I also yelled at my radio.
Like, do you need... Well, who was out there going, God, I don't know, man. What's Ben Stiller think about this? It's like nobody. Literally nobody. Ugh. I just think that anytime you know that a celebrity, somebody who is a public figure, if you get an idea about their politics, they will tell you if they're on the left. If you can't identify anything about them that has ever been the, as I like to refer to, Office Space 15 pieces of flair virtue signaling that you are required to do should you be on the left, and make sure that everybody knows about it so they'll leave you alone. My assumption is you're probably a libertarian fiscal conservative.
Yeah.
And everything else you don't care about.
Right.
But when you're in that private space and you get the opportunity to vote, and you're talking about your Massachusetts, Bill Belichick, why it's harder to get people to play for the New England Patriots because they got to pay all these taxes that you don't have to pay at all when you're in Florida, Tennessee, Nevada. I think that there's a lot more people out there that are probably voting Republican because they understand the implications now more than ever of what Kamala Harris will bring in. When we come back, I'm going to play this clip of one of her campaign surrogates. I think he's on it, CNBC maybe. And he's talking about the unrealized tax and unrealized gains. Is that what am I saying that
yes,
right?
Yes.
And he's like, he definitely proposes it like he's going to say it, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, man, that's the stuff. And they're like, you're nuts. I'll play it for you when you come back. I will tell you right now, I do know people who are switching parties this time around and are willing to vote for Trump for the first time ever. And the weird thing is, they tell me. I don't ask anybody who you're going to vote for. We need to know what you think. Go to the Andy Fry YouTube channel and let us know. Are you a yes or no on this? If you know anybody, Brad and Ryan, you guys can react to that, and we'll watch the Kamala surrogate try to stumble his way through pitching unrealized gains taxes to folks in this country. We'll be right back.
I wanna be great like Elvis without the
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Window World, STLewis.com is the website. WindowWorld, If you are interested in replacement windows for your home, for your business, Window World needs a phone call from you. 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. You can talk to them about getting a free estimate on those windows for your home. You can improve dramatically the thermal efficiency of your home and also the look of your home with these brand new, beautiful replacement windows. They come with a lifetime warranty that covers parts, glass breakage, and labor. And when you call Window World, 314-993-1800, or you visit windowworldstlewis.com, be certain to mention the Annie Fry Show, because saying that is how you are going to get entered for a chance to win 4 St. Louis Blues tickets for this upcoming season from Window World St. Louis. They're the windows that are simply the best for less. They don't jerk you around or put you in some sort of high-pressure situation to get those windows purchased. They're great. And they need your phone call. 314-993-1800. Mention the Annie Fry Show to get those tickets entered to win them. WindowWorldSTLewis.com.
Come out to Midwest WINGFEST in Fairview Heights, Illinois, a legendary food and music festival that benefits combat wounded soldiers and the families of local fallen heroes. There's all kinds of food, from delicious wings to barbecue, plenty of drinks, awesome live music, and a massive kids area, a huge military and first responder area where kiddos get to meet their local heroes and more. Entries $5 for patrons 12 and over. Upgrade your experience with VIP tickets that include unlimited chicken wings from Dandy Inn, beer from Chick Fritz distributors, as well as private restrooms. MidwestWingFest.com.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
We'll answer this question shortly, but we want to know from you, do you know anyone who may switch parties when voting for president? We definitely want to hear from you if you are this person. Although I guess you could vote no, so you would be a person that could say that too. YouTube live chat poll. Type in Annie Fry on YouTube. Annie's just shaking her head. You know, halfway through these things, I go, I didn't really need to say that. 146. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Join us for Midwest WINGFEST in Fairview Heights this weekend. Wings, drinks, and music, all to benefit combat wounded soldiers. A huge variety of food and music. It's all in Fairview Heights. Info at MidwestWingFest.com. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Here's what I tell everyone. I was born by God's dear grace in an extraordinary place where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. So we were talking about the Kamala Harris campaign has not really been too heavily on record with policies, but they have thrown some out there. And it's funny that they picked what I would hope to be are the most communist-leaning ones, because I don't want to see the other ones. If these aren't, if they weren't like, let's just put out the worst ones real quick and then we'll just like ease into it.
Yeah, like these are the good ones.
This is like the Ryan Wiggins set the bar really low. And then every week that goes by going into the election will just be a little bit less communist, and people will be like, well, they're not that bad.
Right, like on November 4th, they're going to be like 100% tax on any income above $60,000.
Something. And we'll all be like, well.
You kind of eased into that.
It could be worse. So they had a campaign surrogate on CNBC to talk about what we've heard a lot about, these taxing of unrealized gains.
Unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word. In the very best sense, if you are taxing unrealized gains, all you're doing is pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone actually sells the stock.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes, even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way a stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
It's also, property tax is a use tax. You're paying for the schools, you're paying for emergency services. I'm
going to interrupt because it's a good thing these two individuals can't reach him right now.
I know.
Because they kind of they look like they want to knock some sense into him, and he just is. He said the talking point. He got it in there.
They knew it. They knew it ahead of time.
He's like the other guy on CNBC goes, "Oh, property tax.
Here we go."
Things that make absolute sense.
And sure, and all the revenue that comes in from these unrealized gains taxes and the other.
Okay, if you can't see this, but I want you guys to explain this. When I see the CNBC female anchor talking, I imagine that if I'm having an argument with my husband and I'm pretty sure he's really wrong about something, that my face looks like her face right now. Have you ever seen your wife talk to you like this and you're like, man, I might feel like I'm right, but she definitely doesn't agree with me right now.
No, at this point, I leave the room. I don't do what this guy's doing.
He's like, oh, but let me tell you about, this isn't bad. We're already doing this to people.
Yeah, right.
Taxes in the Harris plan are going to go to creating what she calls more opportunity. It's to make sure that
what she calls more opportunity. Like, we know you might not like it, but we just want you to know that we've polished this to be it's opportunity. We're gonna go with opportunity.
Every newborn born in this country gets $6,000.
Using the services.
Well, look, you're arguing that this is some sort of foreign concept that's completely unknown in the U.S. tax code.
It's probably unconstitutional. It's probably, and it was never in anyone's intent to
it's not income.
tax.
It's not an income tax,
and it's never going to happen. Probably.
Can we get Kamala Harris to do an interview on CNBC? Look at this guy. Look at this guy in the middle. He's just sitting there going, "Well, I tried."
Yeah, he's like, you know what? They didn't really give me much to work with, and I feel pretty good about what I've done today.
I wish you'd just be honest. I wish you would just come say, listen, we're interested in getting our hands on every single dollar of the American people we can, because we think that as big government Democrats, that we can create a lifestyle that is more equitable for everybody involved. And yes, that means that some people are going to have to lose out on a lot, but that's the end game. The end game here is equal outcome, not equal opportunity, equal outcome. And we will be looking into your stocks, your trades, whatever is all out there that exists in unrealized gains. And these two on CNBC are like, screw you. Like, don't even come over here and tell us about your stupid property tax parallel because it's tired, old. And then he goes, he's like, the male anchor is just talking under about how disgusted he is with him.
He's not even addressing the questions at the guy.
No.
He's like, look, I know what you're going to say. Let me talk to the camera here for a second. This is probably unconstitutional. The other really funny thing is there are so few policies out there that, again, when they put an actual one that you can talk through,
it ain't good.
This is what it is. Their pitch to America is, we want the government to take more of your money, and it's just like those really popular property taxes you're paying right now. You love those, don't you? This will be like that.
And Joe Kernan has been like not having it for quite some time now.
Is that the male on there?
Yeah, that's the guy. I've come across clip after clip of him just being like, no, you can't do that. Here's why that doesn't work.
Yeah,
Here's what's going to happen.
He just is a full stop. He's like a knock it off guy.
Yeah.
Which I like.
CNBC is not right-leaning. They just happen to also be business.
Money and business is also not left-leaning.
Yes. Like, numbers are not.
Yeah. I wanted to play this other clip for you, and this is Nicole Shanahan. This is RFK Jr.'s running mate in some states, Wisconsin and Michigan. And she's talking about the transition out of full throttle trying to win the presidency into MAGA.
Actually, the best part of joining forces with Trump has been seeing MAGA, which I'm learning so much about. I was completely misinformed about what MAGA is. I don't know if you've taken any deep dives into MAGA world, but I was just under the impression that they were gun-toting radicals who wanted to come to my doorstep and rip my liberal family out of my house.
Now, we have a couple of those.
What?
But she's talking about what the outside looking in perspective of MAGA is. And is that not it? The idea that the red hat is the new white hood? I mean,
it's true. Yeah.
That is what has been depicted out there, because again, you're supposed to feel something really powerful when Trump is invoked, and the red hat is supposed to make people feel afraid. And she's talking about having been in direct opposition to Donald Trump, actually on a ticket that is running against Donald Trump, has a very invested interest in Donald Trump not winning the presidency. She had a viewpoint of MAGA, and now that she's on this side of it, it's a little different.
And I don't know, do horrible things to liberals, and that's how MAGA has been sold to a huge portion of America. by the mainstream media. And I have to say that what I have learned about MAGA is that they're actually their own party. They're their own grassroots organization that chose Donald Trump. They have so much power in deciding where to point their energy and support. And there are really, really smart, thoughtful, intellectual people within MAGA. I've received beautifully written notes from MAGA supporters, and they were, our base didn't know how to engage with MAGA. Our base was not, MAGA oriented in the sense of even knowing who and what MAGA was and what their infrastructure was.
So listening to Nicole Shanahan here talking about having moved off of the main race to try to become president, vice president in here. Now she's talking about being kind of folded in with the endorsement of Donald Trump and his campaign, saying they're trying to come together. And it's jaw dropping for her. And it's amazing because the way she explains it, she's like, they're really nice people. And she's shocked. And that's it's a tragedy, but also it's important that she's out here in this case on Part of the Problem with Dave Smith's podcast, explaining what her newfound own perspective understanding of what MAGA in this country actually is.
In many ways, it's an online viral movement. And so the coming together of, and they gave us the name MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. Have you seen?
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we didn't come up with that. We're getting hats made, but the coming together of these two groups over the last week hasn't even been a full week yet, but watching that happen has been really glorious, because that was always the vision of this unity movement, this desire to heal the divide. And even though these are just two pockets within a much larger group of the American demographic, they're two very powerful pockets. And to find common ground has been one of the most motivating, optimistic things I've seen.
I think this is so cool coming from her to be willing to come out and say this and to really pull the curtain back on her own experience. Every single time somebody is exposed in a real, tangible way to, yes, you can call it MAGA, but just people who are generally Trump supporters. Maybe they have a hat, maybe they have a flag, maybe they just don't have a hate has no home here sign in their yard.
Yeah.
And that's how you know. But for Nicole Shanahan to come out and start talking about the strength of this movement and the kindness and their willingness to embrace them, that is, again, going to what I said and have said multiple times. What Donald Trump needs to beat in this election is not Kamala Harris. It's not the Democrats. It's the image that they've painted for him. And this, I think it's a powerful endorsement of shattering everything that she certainly thought about this whole movement, and probably Donald Trump. I think that has legs.
That right there is exactly why Democrats are so concerned about losing RFK. That is why there was such a massive yelling match after the endorsement on Friday and over the weekend, because they're afraid of that very thing happening.
Well, I want more of it.
I
want to see more of it. I want to hear more of it. And we're going to share more of it with you as it continues to roll in. And, she makes a good point. Today's Thursday. This all started happening on Friday. There's a lot more to come in not a whole lot of time. 68 days until the election season begins officially in, I think, less than 10 days. Voting starts in some places. Time to get motivated, time to take action. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
There's a bell that still echoes the price that it costs to be free.
Many people dream of playing the piano, but few ever do. Hi, this is Kathy from Lacefield Music. And as adults, they're afraid it will take too long, be too hard, or that they'll fail. And this is true with many piano lessons, but not with Lacefield Music's 8-week adult piano course. In this course, you will learn to read music, play your favorite songs, and have fun in just 8 weeks. Lacefield Music's 8-week adult piano class is always $99. But twice a year, Lacefield Music opens the course up to the public for only $29.99. That's only $29.99 for all 8 weeks. Classes are starting in September and class size is limited. So go to lacefieldmusic.com or call 636-778-2070 to sign up. The website again is lacefieldmusic.com or 636-778-2070.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Forced from home by fear. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Now former residents of a suburban Denver apartment complex sounding the alarm about one of Venezuela's most notorious gangs, possibly taking over apartment buildings in Colorado. One doorbell video shared with Fox News shows armed men roaming hallways and one group forcing entry into a unit.
Aurora police are actually not confirming that the men in this video are connected to the gang Tren de Aragua. However, some who live in the Denver suburb, including a city council member, insist it has a large and dangerous presence.
Fox's Alicia Acuna, the Aurora mayor, Mike Kaufman, just telling Fox News.
There are several buildings actually under the same ownership, out-of-state ownership, that have fallen to these Venezuelan gangs.
He says they don't know yet who's behind it or who's funding it, but that it appears to be happening in areas where there's a concentration of Venezuelan migrants. He also says arrests have been made and that local, state, and federal investigators are working together. A new watchdog report says the FBI is failing when it comes to reporting suspected cases of child sex abuse to other law enforcement agencies.
The Inspector General's report finds that the FBI complied with mandatory reporting requirements in only about 50% of hundreds of cases examined. The failures, even after improvements, were prompted by the FBI's handling of the case against now imprisoned former USA Gymnastics team doctor Larry Nassar. A senior FBI official saying the Bureau has made mistakes in investigating crimes against children, but says the vast majority of work has been handled appropriately.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. The Pentagon just confirming that Defense Chief Lloyd Austin has approved a request for more military support capabilities for the presidential and vice presidential candidates to support the Secret Service. America is listening to Fox News.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
As fall approaches, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, sporting events, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve. So this fall, no matter what you're prepping for, you can prioritize your family's health and make a game plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We will keep an eye out for a couple of pop-up thunderstorms going through the afternoon. It's partly sunny, hot, and humid near 98. Tonight, spot evening storms. Otherwise, partly cloudy and steamy, 77. Friday, here comes a cool front. Scattered showers and thunderstorms anytime on Friday. It's humid and 90. Partly sunny skies and looking like a great holiday weekend coming up. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
It's summertime. That means backyard barbecues, and you need to leave that all up to Grill Master Tony's Barbecue for some of the best food you've ever eaten. Here's the deal. He's having a summertime pork fest. That means you get pulled pork, pork steaks, or baby back ribs with potato salad, coleslaw, or broccoli bacon salad with bread and the sauce. And it's so easy to order for a group of at least 10 people, up to 500. Just go online to grillmastertony.com.
Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single-barrel bourbon to try. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly, B21.
You've got thoughts. Did you know you also have a microphone? Listen to 97.1 on the Odyssey app and click the microphone to leave a voice message. Whatever's on your mind, let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Have you guys been following a lot of this Arlington Cemetery drama around President Trump?
Just enough, and only because I've had to.
So, are any of these four clips that you have here, like any of them that are good at setting the tone? I can read them.
No.
The Fox News report here says that the U.S. Army says a staff member was abruptly pushed aside during a ceremony attended by former President Trump and his campaign during a Monday ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery, but that the campaign member will not face charges. The incident took place at a ceremony honoring the 13 U.S. soldiers who were killed in an attack on the Kabul airport during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. The Army confirmed reports of an altercation between at least one Trump campaign official and a cemetery staff member. The Army said in a statement, participants in the August 26th ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DoD policies, which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds. An ANC, that's Arlington National Cemetery, employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside. They went on to say, consistent with the decorum expected at Arlington National Cemetery, this employee acted with professionalism and avoided further disruption. The incident was reported to the JBMHH Police Department, but the employee subsequently decided not to press charges. Therefore, the Army considers this matter closed. They went on to say the incident was unfortunate, and it is also unfortunate that the Arlington National Cemetery employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked. Arlington National Cemetery is a national shrine to the honored dead of the armed forces, and its dedicated staff will continue to ensure public ceremonies are conducted with the dignity and respect the nation's fallen deserve. The cemetery has a long-standing federal ban on the use of property by any political campaigns, and cemetery staff had warned that campaign staff could not use the event to take photos or video. This is exactly the question at hand with the Jack Smith indictment. He is a candidate, but he is also a former president. And, you know, I know that this sounds political and there's no way for me to talk my way out of this not being a political statement, but where is the president of the United States? Where's the vice president? All the time, if the president is in the middle of doing something, you send the vice president, you send somebody, you send Jill. But you own the representation of being president, something like that. because it's the right thing to do, not because it's a good political move. And if these individuals wanted Donald Trump to be at Arlington National Cemetery, he is a former president. He is a former commander-in-chief. And that means something. I mean, if you go to the Jack Smith indictment, he essentially took the indictments, stripped out some individuals that were connected to Donald Trump due to his presidential duties, and referred to him not as president, but as candidate, to try to make it so that it was Donald Trump acting as a candidate, not as the president in the election interference stuff. And that's kind of the basic way with which Jack Smith reframed this indictment. So in this instance, if I'm one of these family members of these 13 that have been lost, and the man who made the decision that resulted in the death of my loved one is nowhere to be found. Well, you can find him on a beach. Depends on the time of the day. Nowhere to be found. The vice president, who was very, very boastful about being the last person in the room when these decisions were being made. The first lady, none of them are available to be there. Donald Trump being there. I mean, basically what we're establishing here is that their death is only a political event. And that we can't talk about, acknowledge, remember, memorialize men and women who signed up knowing that they could give all when they signed their name on that line. That in this instance, their death cannot be talked about, cannot be highlighted, cannot be discussed because we're in the middle of an election. Which is ironic because you can also indict a president once again on a reframed nonsense version of something that has already been pretty much given the boot because of the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity. That if you just reframe it, you can take him and not make him the president. You can make him a candidate. And that's what they're doing to him, it seems to me, at Arlington Cemetery. Is they're trying to, if these people want to take a photograph with the president of the United States in Arlington National Cemetery, you can 100% say, well, that's a political photo op. I understand that. But you can't strip it from also being the commander-in-chief who's in Arlington National Cemetery with the family of those who have been entombed there. He is also that. And I know that hurts some people, but it's just the truth. That's kind of where this feels like it's going, which means that it will be a perpetual argument. The left will say, he was campaigning in Arlington. That's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And the right will say, he was being presidential because the guy who's got the job and the woman who wants it are nowhere to be found because it's politically disadvantageous for them to be there. You want to talk about campaigning? Their absence was a campaign move.
When I saw this was still a headline today, because one day, you know, anything Trump does, that if he steps on the 3-point line while he's shooting, they're going to be like, well, that was a 2-point. And, you know, it doesn't matter. They're going to point it out. So the day of, I thought, okay, it's another, Trump's an idiot story. Now we're 2 days, 3 days removed from this or whatever it is, and they're still saying, oh, this is a scandal. I'm looking at this going, this is actually a pretty good day for Donald Trump if this is the scandal that's happening, because Americans see this story, if they're paying attention to this at all.
Go ahead.
If you see this and you think this is what they're hammering him on, you are rolling your eyes at the media at this point.
Slow clap for Donald Trump for actually getting liberals to talk about the 13 that were dead at Abbey Gate. Congratulations, Donald Trump. You managed to get the lefties to acknowledge that the lives of these individuals mattered. Good for you. I mean, here's MSNBC. Ooh, we got him. We got Donald Trump on something. It's an Arlington National Cemetery. It's the perfect setting to really, really hammer in the point that Donald Trump is evil, talking to one of the Gold Star moms that was part of this situation. Can you turn it up here?
Anti-Trump, whatever. What would you say to people who may be pro-Trump, anti-Trump, whatever their politics might be, who just feel like that's not a place for politicians or for politics?
I would have to say, are you in my shoes? I invited him. My son was murdered.
There you have it. Gold Star Mom on MSNBC with this haughty reporter going, let's talk about the people. You can like Donald Trump and still see that this is wrong. People can see that. Gold Star Mom, Kelly Hoover, what would you say to those people? And her response is, I invited him. My son was murdered.
Gosh.
Like, mic drop. In fact, take the microphone off and throw it at the camera that you're talking to when you're asked that question. They want, this is the same thing as Jack Smith indicting Donald Trump on election interference during a campaign so he can interfere with an election. Like, it is Inception. I can't figure this out. I don't understand how you can be so blatantly hypocritical, except for the fact, go back to my conversation with Hans von Spakovksy, where we're talking about the First Amendment, and one of the key parts of that is a free press that's supposed to be invested in finding truth for the American people, and the benefit of exposing truth, no matter who is on the other end of that truth. If it's a bipartisan problem, maybe a tripartisan problem for people if they're on the wrong side of truth. But truth is truth. Abject truth is what we need to seek, and we don't anymore. And when we don't, we get people who get on their high elite horse trying to show you, once again, let's show you how bad Donald Trump is. He's so bad that he'd show up to mourn the lives of those people who died in Afghanistan when Joe Biden. I don't see your point.
It's really remarkable that this is still a story, because it's such an obvious, stupid story to run with. Even if you're trying to smear Donald Trump, this is one of the worst ways you could possibly do it, because of just what you just said, Annie. The articles I've read this morning on this topic, and again, I'm only reading them because they're still there. If this should have gone away day one, let the media do their thing, and then it goes away. But they're still doing this. They had to acknowledge in their reports what Joe Biden / Kamala Harris did in Afghanistan, then frame it that what the real crime is, though, is what Donald Trump did in meeting with the families of the lost. That is such an amazing jump that I didn't know if we'd talk about this today, but I was shocked to read it, and that is not happened much anymore, because the media cannot shock me much anymore.
Listen, the outrage is because it's a gigantic middle finger to the whole narrative that Donald Trump doesn't like troops, especially since he's the one that showed up, and the Harris and Walz and Biden didn't even respond to any requests. They made that request on August 9th. Will you come to this wreath ceremony? They didn't even respond to it. Donald Trump's like, sure, I'll do it. Donald Trump shows up. Everybody looks like this man cares about the troops. And now, wait, we have to manufacture some sort of outrage, because Joe Biden did go to Arlington Cemetery, and Joe Biden has made commercials, political commercials, with pictures that were taken of him at Arlington. He's done the exact same thing, but they've got to manufacture this outrage because they all look stupid for the suckers and losers hoax. That's what this is all about. We got to make him look bad because he made us look really bad for not showing up.
J.D. Vance talked about the so-called altercation at Arlington.
Could you tell us more about the altercation that happened at the Arlington Cemetery? And two, what does debate prep look like for yourself and for Trump at this time?
Well, I think, first of all, the altercation at Arlington Cemetery is the media creating a story where I really don't think that there is one. There is verifiable evidence. There is verifiable evidence that the campaign was allowed to have a photographer there. There's verifiable, they were invited to have a photographer there. There's verifiable evidence that the families of these poor people who had their loved ones die 3 years ago at Abbey Road, Abbey Gate, those 13 Americans, a lot of them were there with the president. They invited him to be there and to support them. That's not an insult to the memories of their loved ones. They wanted Donald Trump there, and thank God that we have a president who stands with our veterans instead of one who runs away from them.
Yeah, I quote Gold Star Mom, Kelly Hoover, I invited him. I mean, that's what you need to know. And Kamala Harris's faux outrage.
Kamala Harris is so asleep at the wheel that she won't even do an investigation into what happened, and she wants to yell at Donald Trump because he showed up. She can she can go to hell.
That was a pretty bold statement from J.D. Vance. And I wonder if he said that and he wished he had those words back, because he did hesitate. And my professional experience of when all of a sudden I think in my head, should I say this? The answer is always no, because there's always time to say it again later if you decide that you should say it, but you can't ever take it back. But this is an issue that really has Americans very, very angry. Thinking back 3 years ago and what took place in Afghanistan, and there was never a time where Joe Biden came out and admitted how much of a drastic failure it was. And let us not forget, in June at that debate, when Joe Biden so arrogantly and ignorantly said on that stage that he had never lost an American. How is that even possible? The number one thing, if there was a starting point where Kamala Harris was going to start pivoting away a little bit from Joe Biden to define herself or refine herself away from Joe Biden, I would have started at square one with acknowledging these 13 people lost. What a great opportunity for you to depart from Joe Biden on the disaster that was Afghanistan, the lives that we lost in this country because of the stupidity of the commander-in-chief, and then show that you have the guts to show up and acknowledge first and foremost those who were lost. This is an easy one. When they say Vice President Harris, you mentioned that you were the last one in the room, and you said you were okay with that, and now you're showing up to acknowledge these lives lost. Have you changed on this issue? Were there mistakes made? And she should say there were absolutely mistakes that were made, and that should have been handled in a different way. And in my administration, it will be. I don't want to be in wars. I don't want to be in Afghanistan. The mentality and the thought process behind what we did was right. The execution was wrong. And I take responsibility for my part in it. And having been there and been the second person in charge, the last person in the room with the man in charge, I've seen how these things work. I've been there. I've been a part of these decisions, and I'm strong enough to admit when I was wrong. And it's important to me now, first and foremost, that I acknowledge these lives that were lost in the process. There are a lot of people in this country that would exhale when they heard that, because it'd be the first time that they took responsibility for it ever. And in the last debate that took place with Donald Trump, Joe Biden just completely forgot about him. The thing that the left hates the most, and it's really actually entertaining to see lefties on Twitter and on the internet constantly pop up in the woodwork thinking that they're going to dunk on this Arlington issue, when the whole thing wouldn't have even been a possibility should Joe Biden shown up and done his job. Should Kamala Harris shown up and paid the respects of the lives that were lost on her watch, on his watch. They had other plans. If Donald Trump should have handled himself differently there, I don't think Donald Trump did anything. It's just a campaign staffer, from what I understand. Some people wanted a photo with the President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief, the one who was and could be again. Is he supposed to say no to that? Give me a break. You people are a treat. I could just tell that they're losing.
Yeah.
And they're grasping.
That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. And to lose this way about this issue, to pick on this issue, is why, in my opinion, J.D. Vance probably crossed the line when he said that Kamala Harris can go to hell. I think that is, I didn't want to hear that, but I get where the emotion is coming from. And when we're talking about the campaign that's out there doing the mood campaign, the vibe campaign, the feelings campaign, well, you got some feelings out of J.D. Vance. And I think it's probably ask a lot of Americans across this country. Feelings mutual. Quick break. Let's take some responses to the YouTube live chat poll when we come back. Do you know anyone who may have switched parties when voting for president this election? Yes or no? Annie Fry YouTube channel. You can vote in the live chat. You can leave a comment there, but you can also go. A lot of you stream us online on the Odyssey app. When you go to click play at 97.1 FM Talk, there's a little microphone right there. You can leave us your response to that question from clicking that microphone. You can take a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
AirComfortService.com. Reach out to Air Comfort Service if you have a concern with your air conditioning unit. If you know that your furnace is going to need to be replaced before fall and winter certainly set in, Air Comfort Service can help you with that as well. It's an easy phone call, 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. Reach out to Air Comfort Service and start that conversation right now. You can also ask them about a summer special they have going on right now, acknowledging 55 years of award-winning service in the HVAC community. You can ask them about how you can save $55 off of any AC repair. You can also save $55 off of a new water heater. Air Comfort Service is award-winning. You can check the reviews out online that are glowing. You can take my word for it as a customer of Air Comfort Service, like a whole host of issues that we've had with our house. They fixed all of them. They are my go-to. They should be yours as well. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. Hit them up online, aircomfortservice.com.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
You have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people, and much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
What's wrong with Rick? He's kind of spacey.
That's Rick's identical twin, Scott. He's not used to answering to Rick.
What's going on?
Rick asked me to keep it secret, but he asked his twin to cover his shift so he could go to Diamonds Direct to shop.
But this is a jewelry store.
Exactly. But the prices and selection are so much better at Diamonds Direct. Rick doesn't want the boss to get suspicious, so Scott's here in case the boss sees Rick at Diamonds Direct.
But that would mean that the boss is at Diamonds Direct too.
Yeah, we have a lot of secrets.
You never know who you'll run into at Diamonds Direct. With unbeatable direct importer prices, the highest quality diamonds, the most sought-after designer rings, the best customer service, the strongest guarantees in the industry, it's just a no-brainer.
You think if Scott had a mustache, he'd look like me?
Go where everyone goes. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
You're mobile. We're with you on the radio or on the Odyssey app. Download it and take 97.1 with you, even outside the listening area.
Your home for
That didn't feel that. I'm just going to tell you right now. That didn't feel genuine, Ryan.
Let me try it again.
Mm-hmm. Are you eating? Am I interrupting?
Yeah, I wanted to have a little spaghetti at 2:30.
Did you have spaghetti? Are you eating spaghetti?
No, I'm not eating spaghetti.
What
I
are you
took a
eating?
little cough drop because I'm hoarse. I'm a little hoarse. I'm a pony.
I thought that ponies were baby horses for a long time.
They are.
They are not.
Well, look how much
foal.
better person I am now after learning that.
I will play this for my husband, and hopefully he provides you the same amount of judgment that he provided me. When one of our kids was like, "What do you call a baby horse?" And I'm like, "A pony." And he's like, "Oh," slow head turn like, "Do you know anything, Annie?"
Yeah. It's a mare, right? The heifer.
Yes.
I'm just throwing farm words out.
It's a bale.
It's a bean planter.
Like a idol?
Fence post.
Grain
You're
drill.
just saying things you see on a farm. What are you talking about? That's a foal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
See Merrimack Caverns.
I've lost you. He's gone. Can I help you now? Can you come back
I
to
need
me?
help. That's what I'm saying.
We're
I'm
gonna
doing a great job of I'm showing you that.
First, before I help you, let's judge you.
Okay.
7 things. This is for both of you. 7 things highly successful men do before 8 a.m. every day, according to psychology.
I probably do all these, but go ahead.
7 things. The first one is embrace the silence. Successful men often carve out time for introspection and mindfulness in the tranquil early morning. This isn't just a time to enjoy their coffee in peace. It's a deliberate practice. Moments of solitude have been shown to enhance self-awareness. You skipping out on this one?
No. I'm
Okay.
listening. I was just looking out the door for a second because I was kind of bored. I'm trying to tune you out so I can have some silence.
8 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
This is during Mark Cox's time, not
Okay,
mine.
okay.
You're on this show.
Okay.
Where all we do is talk to each other.
Okay.
What did I just say? Moments of solitude have been shown to enhance what?
Personal performance.
Self-awareness.
See? It was real close.
Oh, shush. And provide a mental reset before the day's challenges begin. Do you guys take deliberate, silent, quiet time to yourself before? I'm not going to say 8 a.m. specifically, but like that period of your morning that's the first thing you do.
You go first.
Kinda.
You just want to copy his answers, Kamala.
No, I do not. No text on tips.
I kind of do. I mean, I wake up and
I think this can be prayer.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first thing I do is I get in the shower, so it's not silence, but there's nobody talking to me. It's just the sound of water running.
The problem is that I already knew this tip, and so sometimes I'll wake up and I'll start singing the sound of silence, and I'll realize, oh no, that's not silent. Then I'll do Scarborough Fair.
So the answer is no.
No.
This is a Holly Burns article on newtraderu.com. Number 2, get moving. You'll rarely find a successful man who doesn't prioritize exercise, especially in the morning. A pre-breakfast workout is a staple in many of their routines. Why? Because physical activity not only boosts physical health, but also improves mental clarity and reduces stress. Morning workout?
Yep, I do it. I run on the treadmill. I grab a couple of barbells. I run. I scream the whole time.
So nope.
No. No, the real answer is I do the treadmill.
You do?
I do. I do that too.
It's his moment of silent reflection.
That's my moment of silence where I sing.
I don't want to know anymore. I'm taking my headphones off so I can't hear what happens next. But I'm still in the room with you.
The sound
Stop.
of silence.
Of silence.
Are you going to Scarborough Fair?
I think that at the end of this, we'll understand why maybe we aren't as highly successful in this room as men.
So far, I'm 2 for 2. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're all about the number 2. I get it.
Uh-huh. And the number 1.
Number 3, prioritize learning. The most successful men are lifelong learners. They often use the early hours when their minds are fresh to learn something new. This might involve reading a book, listening to a podcast, or catching up on industry news. You read up on the radio industry?
Let's see what they're doing out in Pittsburgh. Ooh,
This habit stimulates the brain, enhances cognitive abilities, and keeps them informed and inspired. Prioritizing learn. Do you take time to learn in the morning?
No. You?
I am not a man.
Oh, this is just for men. That's right, Brett.
No.
Did you call him Brett?
No, I said Brad.
Sorta.
Brett?
Check the tape. His name is Brad.
Oh, okay. This is news to me. Oh, man, this is embarrassing. I've been calling him Brett for years.
Self-awareness.
No, I don't do learning. My brain is a fog.
I don't
in
do
the
learning.
Not in the morning.
I learned something today.
I don't work out in the morning. Mornings are my
that his
worst
name is
time.
Brad.
I am not a morning person. I don't know how much of this list I'm going to be.
You're not a morning person or a night person, Ryan.
No, I'm a sleep person.
Yeah, that's for sure. When Ryan decides it's time to go to sleep, he's just gone.
Yeah, you guys saw it on vacation.
Like, where did he go? Ryan was either asleep or in the bathroom.
He pops that mouth guard in, gives it a few turns, and he's gone.
Well, you would know more than I would. Number 4, plan the day. Successful men don't let their days happen to them. They proactively plan them. The morning when the brain is most alert, which we are challenging, I think, in this room, is the ideal time for this. They set clear goals and priorities and visualize how they want their day to unfold. Is this the patriarchy? Are you guys mad at the patriarchy?
I don't know. I'm not mad at the patriarchy. I am the patriarchy.
I don't think you're participating.
No?
I don't think you're patriarchy.
Even after the barbells and the songs and stuff?
That was a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not disqualifying from the patriarchy.
What do you mean by, is this the patriarchy?
Well, I mean, it seems like there are a lot of things that they're talking about highly successful men doing that you guys don't seem to be really subscribed to.
I do whatever I need to do. Annie.
Do you plan your day before 8 a.m.? Do you have a plan every day? Or most days?
I do because I have to, because I have other people in my life that I have to.
They're counting on you.
Yeah. So
I think that counts.
yes.
I mean, my husband and I usually have to have like a 10-minute conversation daily about how it's going to, like, when it comes time to go to bed tonight, let's talk about all of the things that we have to have accomplished so that we end up with the same kids we started with.
Right.
That's basically how that goes. Number 5, practice gratitude. Gratitude just isn't a nice sentiment. It's a powerful tool successful men use to maintain a positive mindset. Each morning, they reflect on things they're grateful for and thankful for. This simple practice has been shown to reduce stress, improve well-being, and even boost physical health.
Thank you, first of all.
It's too late.
Then no.
Do you start your day off being grateful? I think that this is something that anybody could implement intentionally and probably see an actual positive consequence come from intentional gratitude.
Not that every day is perfect, but I will say overall, I am very thankful to God for my life. And therefore, that kind of bleeds over into most things that I do. So I can't say I wake up every morning and I'm just like ready to go. Hey, thankful, pray. I don't have great prayer discipline. My prayer discipline really comes mostly just kind of throughout the day.
Yeah.
But
I understand that.
But it is ever present.
Brad, do you take time to be intentionally grateful?
I wouldn't say I'm intentional about it. I would say I'm generally grateful, but I wouldn't say I'm intentional about it.
Could you see how taking 3 minutes, like even before you get out of bed, to just like think about that? That's something that I say, and like I'm not intentional about the mindfulness stuff because I'm always in my head. I'm up late at night working on things, and when I get up in the morning between 6 and 7 is when I wake up. I don't always get up, but I'm awake between 6 and 7. Everything starts going. But to be specific, like to not just wait for the night where you can't fall asleep to be like, maybe I'll try praying and that'll help me fall asleep.
I mean, yes, it's a good discipline, but there's also, you got to work it into the practical schedule too. And sometimes that means just waking up a little earlier, but
Or even taking like 3 minutes in the shower to be intentionally
That's
grateful
actually
for
where
things.
I actually pray the most because I get a little time.
Yeah. Do your kids come into the bathroom while you're taking a shower?
They used to. They don't anymore.
Do you miss that?
I would say when my 7-year-old was about 3 and 4,
They just like sit there and
he would come in like in the morning because the other two would go off to school with my wife. He would come into the bathroom and just sort of sit on the floor and just play. And it was just cute.
Yes.
And he just wanted to be close
Do
to
you
me.
have shower curtains, doors? What do you have?
Yeah, shower curtains.
So there's a barrier, a solid barrier.
Well, it used to be a clear shower curtain because I'd need to see if he crawled off when he was really little.
Yeah.
But now it's translucent now.
I have a shower door, and like Molly will just go get a stool, and she just sits it right there, and she just wants me to throw water on the door. She's like, it's great.
It's cute. It's very cute.
It's hard to turn away because it's not going to happen forever.
It's not going to happen forever, and you'll miss it. You will also enjoy when it's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I don't miss my son coming.
Yeah,
like,
that's okay.
You stay where you are,
out.
buddy. Number 6, mindfulness and meditation. In the chaos of the modern world, mindfulness has become a vital skill that many successful men cultivate. Mindfulness practices, including meditation, are often part of their morning routines. These practices help reduce stress, enhance focus, and improve emotional intelligence. I think that kind of like wraps in with other things, but just being intentional about mindfulness. I don't meditate I'm not a dude, but I don't meditate outside of prayer.
I don't meditate outside of Twilight Zone. I watch that while I walk on the treadmill, and I focus on it. It's really the only time I really focus on watching TV is when I'm on the treadmill.
It's because you're a hostage.
Yes, I am.
It's like the only good thing you got going at that time.
Yeah.
I understand.
All right, fine.
treadmills.
Let's watch some TV then, because I don't really want to be doing this.
Meditation, mindfulness, Brad?
No, I'm not a meditator.
You'll get in the back of your truck surrounded by birds.
Yeah, no. No, I have not connected with any of these.
Maybe you're not a true man.
Maybe not.
No, he's a man. He's just not successful.
That's right. Yeah,
yeah, unsuccessful man.
I forgot what
I mean, I'm usually on the road for work before 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's not success.
Yeah. What are you doing? Going to your job?
Going to your job.
Making money for
you need
yourself?
to meditate.
Talking to
Think
thousands
about things.
of people every day.
You know, if you would just stay at home and be highly successful at all of these things, taxpayers would just pay for this stuff for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder what highly successful means specifically. We should have asked that first.
Free degrees.
The last one, number 7, maintain a consistent routine. Perhaps the most important habit of a highly successful man is consistency itself. They stick to their morning routines, making these positive practices a non-negotiable part of their daily lives. I don't understand the term non-negotiable with anything that is in my time. My time is constantly being negotiated. But how adherent are you to your routine and flexible in it?
I would say I am highly adherent to it and highly flexible because I do both of those things so well. You know, I do have things that I want to do every day, but things get in the way. And so you just got to go with the flow. That's what a successful man does. Brad, you?
Yeah, I'm going to say what Ryan said. I have a routine. I'm flexible to the routine, but I don't have to really have negotiations on my routine because there's nothing really there to take negotiation away from it. So I'm able to stick to it, but if something comes up that I need to go do, it doesn't like ruin my whole day if I have to do X, Y, or Z first and then back into my routine.
Well, that was, according to Holly Byrne, 7 things highly successful men do before 8 a.m. every day. And she says, according to psychology, which sounds like maybe the science.
Well, if the science says it, we better do more of it.
The YouTube live chat poll, do you know any Foods can really streamline your whole grocery purchasing process. I know a lot of people don't like to shop at multiple grocery stores, but you're kind of used to it because you get your, the meat from the meat department at this one store, or maybe your produce at another store or whatever. I want you to try Ruler Foods for all of it first, and we can fill our cart up with Ruler Foods and not have to make extra trips. RulerFoods.com. You can also fill up that cart online now because they have delivery, which means those savings that you enjoy can be shipped right to your front doorstep, which is fantastic. If you haven't gone into the store yet, though, I really encourage you to give it the opportunity to earn your business. It's an easy place to shop. We love the produce that we get from there. We have great avocados. We have made many a bowl of guacamole from the fresh produce that we get from Ruler Foods. And they also have the other stuff that you normally count on, the name brands, but they also carry Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. So if you're looking to save on your grocery bill and you haven't done it yet, go to Ruler Foods, and trust me, you will enjoy it. RulerFoods.com.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Do you know anyone who may have switched parties when voting for president? Yes or no? This is your official invitation to join the Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat. And then do the live chat poll. They wanted me to read this all funny, and I'm not going to do that. Do it like you did off air. 249. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Hey, good Wednesday afternoon. We're getting set to go here. More flipping and flopping from the Harris and Walz campaign ahead of their big interview on CNN. We'll talk about that. Also, Brad Young's going to join us at 3:25. An update on the Dennis Hancock situation in St. Louis County and a whole lot more. It's all coming up.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
So it's Kamala Harris, Tim Walz interview today, and It's going to be on tonight at 8 o'clock on CNN. You don't need to block out a lot of time, though, for it. Jason Miller, who is, at least on X, listed as a senior advisor to President Donald J. Trump. He tweets, hearing that CNN will not be releasing the full transcript of all 18 minutes total.
18 minutes?
Of the interview with Kamala Harris and human blocking dummy Coach Walls.
Oh, my gosh. She sat down for a full-length 18-minute, and they're not releasing the transcript. So they could have edited it.
I'm all for it. The stupider it looks, the better.
Well, I didn't know that, though. I thought this was going to be a good hour interview.
This is
18 minutes.
This is Jason Miller tweeting that he's heard this. So we could be completely wrong.
Okay.
It could be a full, let's wait and see. But if it's 18 minutes.
Holy smokes.
It's a full hour. It's just the same 18 minutes 3 times.
And Dana, can you make your questions really long?
It was probably an hour long, and they cut out all the times where she was staring blankly at the ceiling trying to come up with an answer.
Right. No gold on the ceiling,
Can
Kamala.
we make that a little tighter?
She's kind of checked out here for a good 20, 30 minutes. You might just kind of editing that out.
Kate says on YouTube, Annie, Trump gave longer interviews getting into his helicopter, which is true.
That is true.
We'll wait and see. Maybe it's longer than 18 minutes. Maybe Jason Miller is wrong.
There'll be a CNN fact check tonight. Say, oh, Jason Miller, come on. This thing was at least 19, 20 minutes.
Yeah. But they did slow down. It started just talking
And again,
like this.
wait a minute. I think they slowed that interview down.
And then I said, build the wall.
I know they want to increase the child tax credit. We're going to do it by a bigger amount. Ha, 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 ha. Tim?
Tim Walz is just going to sit there and smile.
Real big.
Like a goob.
Yeah. Yeah. And clap. It'd be great if he was the studio audience. Yeah! Good answer. Good answer. Like it's Family Feud.
Good answer.
Good job, Kamala. You answered all the questions.
Brian says, please clap. I don't, could it be good? Could the interview tonight be good?
No.
Could it be good for her?
No.
Not possible.
I don't think so.
No way?
The best she could do is average. So I can't see how people walk away from this going, wow, she really nailed that.
Yeah, but what is the bar for her? Because if the bar's low and she does average, it's going to look amazing.
I don't know what the bar is. There is no bar. She's done nothing. There's nothing to compare it to. All the stuff she's done is old. This is the first thing she's done.
Yeah, but if the bar's what she set for herself in those old interviews, eesh.
The thing of it that I am confused about and very intrigued to see what happens is the campaign is to not talk about policy. That's the campaign. Donald Trump, bad. Kamala Harris, joyful. And in an interview, the reason why people want an interview is because they want the deets. They want to know what's going to happen. And she stepped into that a couple of times, and she really stepped into it when she did it. So she's got, at the same time, communist-like policies and Trump's policies. Where do you go? What are you going to do? Are you going to mix them up? Are you going to draw them out of a hat? How do you do that? I don't know how she's going to manage that, because it really feels like if she goes hard into the communist thing, socialist thing, that's going to take a lot of Americans off, or convince a lot of Americans that what they worried about her, that's actually going to be the case. Or I don't think that she can come out and be like, the border's a huge problem. It should have been closed a long time ago. We didn't do that, or we needed to do a better job of it. So I think we should close the border and build a wall, and have a bunch of lefties be like, hooray. I don't think that happens either.
Yeah, that's why she's in the spot that she's in. That's why she's not doing interviews. What she's doing tonight will be 3 days worth of training to say nothing. It'll be platitudes about, the type of campaign they're running, what they're looking forward to, the feelings that they've been getting from voters across America. Let me read you a letter from young Lucy Jenkins. Like that kind of crap.
A handwritten letter from Tucker.
Yeah.
But, I mean, those are the two things that I listed are the two possibilities of what happens, but I'm glad, Scoot, thanks. SVD here says there's one other thing that could possibly happen, and he puts out here, his comment says, and he has at the end of this, in parentheses, sarcasm. So he's saying this sarcastically. Lifting kids out of poverty. That's hilarious. Well, why the hell are they in poverty? Why didn't you do that 4 years ago? Why didn't you do that when you've been in the administration leading the charge? Why are they in poverty? If you could fix it, why didn't you fix it? So, thank you, Scoot. I did drop the ball because she is going to have to figure out how she determines what is a Harris presidency and how is it different than a Biden presidency. That would be the first question that I would be asking.
That's why it's going to be so tough.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun day tomorrow. We're going to have like 18 minutes worth of material.
And we're going to make it last for 3 hours.
For 3 hours. Tune in.
The YouTube live chat poll for today. Do you know anyone who may switch parties when voting for president? Ryan, do you?
I do not.
You don't know anybody?
I don't.
Brad?
I haven't talked to anybody about it, so no.
I do. I know somebody who, I know two people who are considering voting for Donald Trump or not voting at all versus their traditional vote for Democrats. With 300 votes in today's YouTube live chat poll, 67% of you said no, but that's interesting that about 100 people say, yeah, they do know people who were voting different. I'm actually pretty encouraged by a 33% number in this poll. Thank you for listening today. Keep it right here on 97.1 FM Talk or on the Odyssey app because Mark Reardon takes it from here.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan. If you haven't been to our Inverness community, don't wait. We are in our